Alright. What the heck is up, everybody? We are here with a big match. It's Onsyde Gaming versus Kaizi Gaming. It's a team league match between two of the best teams out there. Spirit in the top left representing Kaizi Gaming in the first match. He has got a match on his hands. He's up against Maru in the bottom right representing Onsyde. Of course, you can see the lives of both teams at the top. It is still that best of two format, you know. I'll explain it more as it goes on, but keep in mind, Onsyde Gaming has Maru, Solar, Rex, and a bunch of other fantastic high-level players. Ryung recently joined their ranks as well, I believe. In the top left, Kaizi Gaming, we've got Spirit, but he's got Reynor and Oliveira as his teammates. So it is a very stacked lineup on both sides. Obviously, Reynor, Maru, Oliveira, and Solar being kind of the captain, kind of top dogs for both sides. Spirit, Ryung being underdogs, as is Rex. But the way this works, let's talk about the format a little bit. As you've got the player cameras down there in the left side, we get to see the players' reactions as they play. This is obviously played not too long ago from when I'm casting it, soon after the World Championships, where Maru did lose a TVT Grand Finals to Oliveira. And a lot of the time, players like to take a bit of time off after that. But hey, a big Team League Finals, he's going to have to perform for his team. So let's talk about the format. Okay, so you've got 4 lives at the top. Those are what those little circles are. The left side is Kaizi Gaming, right side is Onsyde Gaming. Now, in a best of 2 match, what happens is if you both take a map, say it's 1-1, you both lose a life and both players have to switch out for the next match. So it's just basically, you know, a tied, and both of them have one of those circles up top crossed out. On the other hand, if one player 2-0s, that means, say Maru 2-0 Spirit, Kaizi Gaming loses a life and has to put a new player in, and they'll play against Maru in the next match. So if you keep 2-0ing people, you can stay in and eliminate their entire team and take all their lives out. And of course, if it ends up 4-4, we will get a best of 1 ace match between 2 players, which can be anyone. Even before that, if it gets to the 4th life, either side can revive their player. So if Maru dies here, he can be revived in the 4th match. Likewise, same thing can be done for the other side. Now, here comes a nice little pressure out of Maru. Oh, this is kind of dangerous. It looked like Maru was winning the fight, but then the SCV landed a hit. Spirit trying to chase the Reaper down. Does he defend his command center, though? Looks like he should have. Yeah, I think the Reaper came down there. Barely keeps his SCV alive on the command center. The second Reaper does get that SCV kill, so Maru is deflected. Good defense by Spirit, but Spirit's reactor is a lot later, whereas the double Reaper production's already on the way for the follow-up for Maru. Oh, actually, we've got some clarification on the rules. Apparently, Rex isn't on Onsyde since 31st of January. That's unfortunate to hear. But also, the ace can't be revived for the last best of 1. So the final best of 1 has to be a player that hasn't lost their life, whereas the previous best of 3 on your last life, you can revive a player. This is super confusing. So I think what that means is the player, the player who's been revived for the 4th match cannot play in the ace match, basically. It has to be someone else, is what I'm understanding. That I mean, this is, who really cares? It doesn't matter. Good StarCraft game's coming. He's going to sacrifice a Hellion to take out the Widow Mine. That's an okay trade for Spirit, though, and he's got 2 Marines here to help hold the line. Good grenade zoning on both sides. You just don't want to clump up for the enemies with grenades and Hellion Splash. Ooh, Spirit moves forward, trying to chase that Reaper down, but good micro by Maru punishes the chase, but Spirit pulls back the Hellion as well and actually ends up winning the trade. Surprisingly confident play by Spirit. Very, very well done. Banshee is on the way with no cloak for Spirit. A good unit when it's a very scrappy and aggressive early game. The Banshee adds so much to just help keep you safe. It can also be a light harassment unit. And he's actually going to start cloak behind it, interestingly enough. Cyclone's on the way as well for both sides. A tank gets picked up. Maru's going for a Marine tank Reaper Hellion push. I think he's going to go straight to the natural and try to siege up there. This could be bad news for Spirit if his Banshee moves out. If his Banshee stays at home, I think he'll be well set up to deal with it. But if that Banshee moves out, which it is, then it might take a few seconds to get home. And even a few seconds for this tank to wail, and it could be big. Marine out there sees the medevac. And Spirit should be pulling that Banshee back right now, but it continues across the map. Oh, Spirit a little slow to react here. His Banshee still continuing across the map, and he locks onto a Marine with a Cyclone. Okay, now Spirit's lost this position. He's gonna, he takes some shots in the mineral line as well. That tank barely reaching, getting some good splash damage. Grenades in the mineral line, gonna kill a Marine and damage 2 more as well. I mean, the Banshee can do good counter damage usually, but there is a Cyclone out. I think Maru might have rallied his Cyclone across the map, so Spirit is basically relying on one big break here. He's probably going to go auto turret on the tank and then A move but he'll need to bring SCVs and whatnot out as well. He's got a tank moving forward. He's got to be careful with that siege tank. Cyclone comes in. Oh, mass repair. Mass repair is needed. He needs to mass repair his tank, otherwise it'll go down. Spirit does not mass repair. He tries to break forward. The Cyclone is there, but wait, his siege tank gets repaired at the last second. The Banshee going into the mineral line. Spirit's still alive, but unable to break this position, and with no way of doing it. The Banshee in the picture in the bottom right, going to start picking off SCVs. Marine drop on top of the siege tank, but a few more Marines come down. Auto turret is here. The SCVs kill the Marines. The auto turret looks like it'll go down as well. The command center is still alive. Spirit is hanging on like a champion. And auto turret almost kills his Banshee on the other side of the map, but he moves it to the natural. He has managed to kill 8 SCVs of Maru. Spirit's ahead on workers. If he can't break this position, then he's kind of screwed. And oh, Maru makes a slip up. He actually sieges his tank too close there and loses it. Maru, if he just left that tank there, it was applying so much pressure. The Banshee finally gets cleaned up. I still think this could be a better position for Maru, even though he's down 5 workers, but losing that tank eases the pressure off Spirit. And I think Spirit now says, well, 5 worker advantage. You know what? I'm all right. Also, rallies. Looks like he's accidentally rallied SCVs to the front. Maru showing some uncharacteristic, I think, cracks in the armor after that series against Oliveira, where we saw the most tilted he's ever been. Look at him. A big breath. A big, deep breath there for Maru. That is... You guys have heard me joke about how Maru, where any other player would be tilted, just puckers his lips a little bit, looks unaffected. But I think losing that World Championship final, something that has shaken him a little bit. We'll see if he can rally. He's still obviously Maru and is beyond favored in this matchup. But it is expected for him to get the 2-0. And Spirit, I think, is really just hoping to put up a good fight. If he can steal one map, Spirit will be more than pleased with that. As having traded out one of your weaker players for Maru would be absolutely super effective. Reaper does go down. Looks like Maru's still looking to push on the front. I do think Spirit is very good at multitasking, but not so good at frontal pushes. That's his big weakness as a player. So I think one of the best things you could do as Maru is maybe just dive the Ravens through the mineral line, spam some auto turrets, kill some SCVs, and then just swap into defense mode. Because generally speaking, Spirit's a player who's very good at turtling. He's very good at harassing, expanding, macroing. But like I said, you can kind of overextend on your harassment because he's not that good at counter pushing. Oh, Maru's going to go for the big interference matrix push. Oh, that is huge. Triple matrix goes down. The tanks just move up. But double matrix to counter it. Oh, wow. That single Raven with the double matrix actually just cucks his push. Well done by Spirit. Even pulls the SCVs to make sure Maru has to pull back. Maru doesn't siege, though, so he doesn't lose his units. I don't think it was the worst trade for Maru. Definitely could have been better for him, but... he didn't end up losing his tanks, so he's still definitely in a decent position. More barracks going down for both sides. They've both got 3 bases. Spirit maintaining a 5-worker advantage shows that he's keeping up SCV production with Maru. It means that he doesn't have any gaps there. He's playing very well so far. Tanks, Vikings moving forward. Maru's got his earlier 1-1 started, but here we go, that unit advantage. The Viking advantage especially is scary when you've burnt so much energy in the previous fight. Maru might get overwhelmed here. He's got a Marauder, a few Marines. He's trying to siege his tanks in a sort of central position. And I think he's just going to use scans. Oh, he's got to keep his air units back. He's got a lot of medevacs, but only 3 Vikings. Those Vikings need to get out of there. Stims the Marines forward. Oh no, Maru doesn't have any scans. Spirit's able to take out a siege tank. Okay, Maru needs to stop dropping mules. Everything needs to be used for scans right now. I think the sensor tower is a pretty good idea. He's sending SCVs just to see if Spirit's sieging forwards because he doesn't have many scans, so he's got to be careful. But Spirit walks in and loses a siege tank. Slight mistake there. And he will start sieging that tower. Oh, Liberator's coming in as well. Spirit with a very committed push on the front. Ravens, medevacs, and tanks having to scramble backwards right now. Maru, he's definitely under a lot of pressure. He's going to have to... oh, he's going to go for it. Big stimmy for the winnie. A couple auto turrets go down. The Vikings land. Interference matrix on one of the tanks. A bunch of SCVs will fall, but Spirit's Marines were in the back a little bit. Would have been better if they were a little further forward. It looks like that is going to be a break. 11 SCVs go down, but Maru breaks the position. A very important hold for him. If he can counterattack and do something with that, that'd be great. His 1-1 is going to finish soon. And of course, the 1-1 is behind. Spirit's up 14 workers, has a 4th command center finishing. Maru has a planetary going up in his 4th as well. And most importantly, he's got those medevacs. So he can either go frontal push or he can split up and start harassing. Spirit does not have any medevac healing. So each stim is going to be something he cannot recover from. 4 tanks versus 1. That's a very, very, very nice advantage. And, okay, Vikings, he's got the advantage to Spirit. Spirit's going to stim the Marines, but they're very clumped there. And, oh, they get punished. Oh, they get punished. That was not the fight Spirit needed. Maru able to just dance back and forth with Spirit. And it looked like Spirit was getting the better of it for the most part. But finally, with that defensive break into this counterattack, it looks like Maru is able to do it. Maru playing fantastic StarCraft. 2 more libs coming out. That's a really curious choice. I guess because Maru doesn't have any Vikings, Spirit says, well, I mean, if I've got the Viking advantage, might as well use Liberators. But at this point, Harassment might be the better call with those. That Command Center definitely shouldn't float back there. Pull that away, pull that away. And a big drop in the main could cause big troubles for Spirit, but no, a turret's there. Oh, Maru going for the YOLO break. Maru absolutely unchaining his inner psychopath and just going for broke. He wants to get a bit of stabby into Spirit's eye sockets, and Spirit not able to hang on to. He just doesn't have the numbers. I thought that was a crazy move. Maru says it was just the right amount of crazy. I knew I had a big army advantage. I just needed to force him to pull into the main a little and then change directions to the south. You can't be everywhere at once, mate. Once you've driven a wedge between the opponent's bases like this, you know, you're going to be able to find those nice fights. And good decisiveness. Those are the sort of moves that shake you a little when they backfire. When they go well, you kind of nod and smile to yourself, and you're like, yeah, I know that looked a little risky, but it worked out. He's going to go for the stim. If he can get rid of the tank, then he has position control. The tank barely survives. Spirit going to move out. Oh, Maru overcommitted. Spirit's actually going to break out. I cannot believe it. Spirit, nice defense there. Unfortunately for him, Maru's got a 5th command center on location, 8 racks coming down, and 2-2 almost finished. So even though Maru did overcommit and not quite get the siege tank, he's still even in army supply, and he sieged on the front. Planetary on the left should be just fine. He spots that planetary and says, okay, can't deal with that just yet, but I've still got a great position. 12 Marines building at a time. Maru's adding 3 more reactors, which is going to get him up to the point where he can build 16 Marines at a time. He's also got double factory pumping. He's got quite a few medevacs, so he's not prioritizing medevac production right now. He's going to try and siege forwards here, but the Liberator in the tank sieging could counter it. His Marines come forward. Nice spread from Maru. Spirit doesn't have any tanks left. Oh, Spirit with only 1 factory this whole time. Because remember, that 2nd factory went down on the natural. And that is unfortunate. Maybe, just maybe, if that 2nd factory built in the main, he could have held. Oh, he's gone for a counter drop. I didn't even see that one slide across the map. Spirit going for the double Marine drop on the other side, but Maru's up in the guts of the natural. As long as he survives at home, Maru should be good. We need to watch the fight at home. Observer! Observer, please! Oh my god. Okay, it does look like Maru managed to force him to pick up and go in the main. Obviously, I don't get to observe these games, guys. We have to cast this one off a feed. Big shout out to the Observer. Does do a really good job. I just am very antsy when I don't have my hands on the mouse. I like to be able to control the camera. But GG, Spirit has to tap out. He fought really well. Maru actually looks like a sigh of relief there. Very rare we see that. But GG, well played. All right, going into game 2. Nice effort in game 1, but was bested in the end of it. Spirit played some of the most exciting games from the World Championship, but didn't quite make it out of groups. He was close. He was 1 match away. And Maru in the top right side, making it that grand finals. So, falling short of winning the whole thing, Maru. Spirit, on the other hand, falling short of making it from the top 24 into the top 12. He had to beat Cure. If Spirit beat Cure, and maybe if he even took 1 map off... Oh, sorry, not Cure, Gumiho. I think it was if he took 1 map off Gumiho, he might have gone through. But he ended up getting 2-0'd. Gumiho has very good TVT. That was what ended Spirit's incredible journey. But Spirit had a crazy series versus Cure in the round of 36 play-in stage. Crazy series versus Zaun. So many fun series versus Protoss players, actually. His series versus Estrella is something I'll be casting in the near future as well. I've had on my menu. They had a crazy back-and-forth group stage match. He had a really good one with Showtime. Spirit has just exciting matches all around. I really feel like if there's one player you want to watch, you know, that's not a normal player from the World Championship to see some good games, he's the guy. Maru looks a bit tense. You could see him stretching his neck there, kind of massaging the side of his neck. I know he does get like shoulder and neck pain sometimes. Obviously kind of, I think, RSI, repetitive, you know, stress injury related, that sort of stuff. So we'll see. Hopefully Maru's injuries are okay. You know, we never really talk about his injuries, but there are a lot of Terran players who play very, very fast and over the years have developed different like nerve issues in their arm, their shoulder, or their neck. Microing bio is it's a hazardous workplace. I got to tell you that. It's such a twitchy, reaction-based, incredibly fast-focused micro. And every race has a lot of micro, but most Terran players rely on bio as their core, and their basic units rely on a lot of Twitch micro. So definitely something where it does result in injuries. It would be funny if he actually had issues as bad as Beyond this whole time, but just kind of kept it secret because he didn't want to give away the competitive advantage. Might be the case, you never know. I doubt it, but interesting to keep in mind. I don't know if Spirit has RSI issues at all. He's been macroing like a beast. He's been the practice partner of the gods for many years. Cyril's #1 TVZ partner, I think, for many, many years. A lot of people would always thank him when they win the European regionals for the practice games that he gives. Now, it's been, of course, just non-stop Reaper Hellion for Spirit, no Reactor, whereas the Reactor came down after 1 Reaper for Maru. So Maru's got the Reactor up. He's also pumping Reapers. So it feels like a pretty even matchup of units. Looks like it should come down to similar builds and just who can micro better in the early game. All right, Marine's getting pumped out 2 at a time now for Maru, while the Reactor does start up for Spirit. He's going to build a Widow Mine as well. And it is, I think, 3 Reaper 2 Hellion versus 3 Reaper 2 Hellion. Exact same units. Let's see who's better. I'd normally say it's an easy defense, but this is Maru we're talking about. And does Maru go for the splitty split? Try to jump the Reapers in the main? No, he says that's not. Spirit wasn't born yesterday. There's no way that's going to work. Just backs off. He's building a tank and a medevac, though. Okay, so he's going to try the same sort of heavy pressure opening. This is one of the best. Now, I really think if Spirit just pulled that Banshee home in that last game, he actually would have shut the push down easier. On the other hand, the Banshee ended up killing 11 SCVs, and he had a worker lead after the early game. So there's an argument that Spirit sending the Banshee across the map was the right call. This time around, though, he's going for the Cyclone and the Raven, and is going to try and build forwards. Now, he's got the Widow Mine out front, the natural. Yet again, just sacrifice a Hellion or a Reaper on it. Usually, I feel like a Reaper's the unit you're happier to lose, because their job is more to tank at this stage of the game than be damage dealers. And a Hellion has, of course, 30 more hit points than a Reaper. So, oh, but he loses the Hellion. Good spread. At least he doesn't take the splash damage. Tank is here. He drops it a little early, does Maru. Could he drop that a little deeper? He's going to siege it on the front line. Oh, auto turret comes down. Cyclone does lock onto the medevac, but he actually cancels the lock on manually to use the auto attack to kill the tank. And that is an effective snipe there for Spirit. Very important to take out the siege tank. Of course, you don't need to kill the medevac. If the tank is already sieged, it cannot pick it up until it unsieges. And if he could even get that medevac, that would be huge. But look at that. Maru goes over the pillar as the lock-on starts to break vision. Very nicely done. And wow. Oh, the Cyclone's coming in, but it looks like it auto-locked onto one of the Marines. And if you get back to the high ground, you're safe. Maru, get out of there. Maru, what are you doing? Oh, Maru's playing way too silly right now. Those Marines can easily take this out. Maru is getting a little bit antsy. He's trying to kind of bully Spirit, it feels like. I mean, he's hitting his macro behind it, so it's not like it's coming at a huge cost, but dropping a scan there doesn't really net him any benefit. And both sides going third command center into second and third barracks. Both of them appear to be building about 3 Ravens. Remember, those Ravens build faster. They cost 50 less gas. The triple Raven opening is very strong because Interference Matrix is just god tier. And as these fights get bigger, auto turrets are going to become less effective. They can still help, but it's nowhere near as much the crazy tanking power that they used to have in those early fights. Now, Maru goes double eBay. Spirit also double eBay just a few seconds later. And this feels like a very even game once again. Spirit's really holding up under the pressure of Maru skirmishing with him. I think usually Maru gets quite ahead and just kills a lot of Terran players in the first 5, 6, 7 minutes. But in the last few months, of course, Beyond's been taking him down a little bit, as has Bunny. And that's usually off of them being able to beat him in the early skirmishes. I would say usually, I'm saying that's usually when the wins, what the wins come from. I'm not saying the wins come often. They're still maybe 30% of the time at most for those 2 players, who are the only 2 players who were really beating Maru in TVT. But it's a different story to what we were saying a while ago, which was like Maru's unbeatable in TVT. He lost that finals to Oliveira. He was losing occasionally to Beyond or Bunny before that. And the aura of invincibility is gone for Maru in this matchup, much like Cyril has lost his aura of invincibility in ZVZ over the last few years. He used to be the unstoppable god in 2018 in ZVZ. He was just ahead of everyone else at learning late game, but everyone else caught up and closed that gap. Showed a good knowledge of how to play dynamic styles. Nice SCV spotter here. Maru, I think, defends, scares the attack away, but he loses a few SCVs. You know, 1 spotter out front to make sure Spirit's not moving in. Auto turret's getting a little bit of damage as well. Cyclone does damage the Raven, but Repair takes it down. And, oh, actually gets 2 SCVs as well, so not too bad for that. The auto turrets don't last as long. Maru forgetting to put back on gas in the main. The pressure of Spirit, I like the way Spirit just applied some pressure and then just went home. In that previous game, he overextended. He got way too stiff on the aggression, and that's kind of what happened later on in the series versus Cure. I feel like in some of those games, Spirit was just like, I need push you with Tank Viking Lib. He loves his Tank Viking Lib. He's doing it here again. The problem is that push can get slowed down a lot. It's very immobile, and if your opponent then just kind of runs around the flanks, they can do some really good stuff. Maru gets an SCV, forces the Viking land, and runs away. He's getting good value out of his Cyclone. Maru wants to push the front with 1-1 and combat shields finishing. The Liberators are going to be out, though. And Cyclone gets some damage on the Raven. Get out of there, Spirit. Spirit's not watching. And he will lose that Cyclone. But at least that notifies him what's happening. 5 tanks. A couple Ravens coming in on the right side. 3 Ravens there for Spirit as well. Scans being used to keep track of each other. Oh, he's going to send 1 Liberator to harass. 2 Liberators to harass. I mean, we've seen that move do crazy damage, right? The Liberator harass from Oliveira versus Reynor was game-changing. We saw Spirit use it versus players like Cure and others in the tournament at Katowice. I can't wait to see how Maru responds, because he's normally an expert at this, but if those Liberators siege in your base right as you're engaging on the front, it's very hard to be ready. Now, Spirit's a little slow to move his tanks forward. Anti-armor missile goes down, fascinatingly enough. Oh, the Vikings for Spirit actually snipe one of those units. The tank's moving forward. The Liberators do come in. Auto turret almost kills one of them. Liberators going in on the 3rd and the natural at the same time. Maru is disengaging from the front. He's got to pull back. Maru. Oh, he's accidentally sieged in range here. The Vikings are going to land. He's going to go auto turrets. Spirit going for a crazy Viking land. But you know what? His Marines stay back, and he actually gets a lot of tank shots on those units. The Liberator's still sieged in the 3rd. You're kidding me. I did not think Maru would tunnel vision like that. Maru still rallying SCVs into that 3rd base. This is uncharacteristic. Maru is actually the one who's getting stiff and focused on the front. Now, he's getting good damage. Don't get me wrong. He did defend the Liberator in his natural. But that Liberator in the 3rd base... No, he didn't. There's still a Liberator. It moved from the natural to the main, and the Lib in the 3rd finally goes down. Spirit goes for the break while Maru's distracted. Maru's SCV... Marines do stim from the left side. He's got those 2 tanks pretty far back. Can he hold position? I think he can. Oh, Maru... Does he hold position? No, the Viking land could come in. The Marines pulling a bit too far back. Maru could have won that fight. But he will lose the tank position as he's still distracted by the Liberator in the back of the base. You're kidding me. He's losing so much mining time. Maru looking a little stiff in his play. And I'm going to say, sometimes Maru looks rock solid firm, but in a good way. This is the bad sort of stiff. This is the sort of stiff like one of those panic goats. You know those goats where if you scare them, their evolutionary defense is to like faint. They just panic and fall over. Pretty bad defense system. That's kind of what I think Maru's showing under pressure a little bit. On the other hand, he killed a lot of SCVs, but he's way down, half the army supply. If Spirit can get damage done here, he should be able to win the game. Double the army supply is nothing to scoff at, but it's a slow siege army, and Maru's so smart. Picks up, pulls away. He's got to gather his units at the front. He's got to try and slow this army down, but he's only got 1 tank. How does he only have 1 siege tank? Maru has been slipping up on his macro. He lost so much mining behind this. Spirit has got less, double the Marine count, 5 more tanks, equal Viking count. 2 libs could be a problem. But, dude, the tanks... Oh! That's nasty. Can he get a tank? Maru gets a tank on the right side, and this other tank of Spirit kind of stumbles forward. Oh, no! I told you guys Spirit's weakness is his frontal pushes, and we saw it. We saw exactly it just then. Look at this. Oh no, the Liberators try to fight the Vikings, but the Marines are there. He's taking so much damage. Luckily for him, Maru does give up that high ground right side and lets a tank siege, but the Vikings are there. They clean up the Vikings. Maru has defended this so well, and I think Spirit may have missed his window. He was at double the army supply. Now it's only about a 17 worker advantage. Yes, Spirit's rebuilding his SCVs, but he's only now started his 2-2, much later than Maru, who's already got +2 attack finished and +2 armor almost done. Maru's going to go for a Marine backstab. Spirit needs to scramble home. I don't know if he has a big enough rally to defend that many Marines. He does have a sensor tower that'll give him warning. Oh, actually, he's got a tank and a big bundle of Marines at that 3rd. Sorry, I should have seen that on the minimap. Maru scans it, is like, okay, nope, turn around, go back the other way. Spirit's still up in supply, and he has closed the work account. I do think he could have done more with this, but he's doing pretty well. Liberator coming in behind the natural. Again, the Liberators have given nightmares to Maru this game. This time, though, Maru doesn't make the mistake. He says, fool me once, Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on you, mate. Liberator on the front, though, will get these tanks. Oh, the Marines distract on the left. They get a tank. They're going to come in. The Liberator gets a tank on the right side. Maru does pick up and save one of them with the hot pickup on the medevac siege. But, oh, God, he still hasn't dealt with this Lib. That Liberator being an absolute pain in the nuts. And finally does take it down, but not before another 3 Marines, 4 SCVs do go down. Maru is down 20 supply in this game. Now, I still think Maru is just such a solid player. He could get back in it. I would have loved to see him slide a single medevac across the map. Anything to put Spirit on the defensive. I feel like if you just force him to defend at home, he's not going to be so good at attacking in 2-3 places at once. Whereas right now, Spirit's showing excellent ability to pick and poke and kind of prod in and find these nice engagements. I'd like to see Maru use that multitasking, that mechanical advantage and that cool under pressure that he has to just stim 8 Marines around the right side of the map and maybe drop in the back of the natural. Just poke around and force Spirit to react to it. Don't look for big damage. Don't commit your whole army, but just force him to move around onto the defense. And you can see now Spirit's on the defense. Maru is panicking. He's like, where is your army? He's worried that there's like a doom drop or something. He's going to send a small Marine run by down the right side. 2-2 will finish up for Spirit and close the gap on those upgrades, but +3 has already started for Maru. Maru's 4th command center floating out. He's getting closer to max, which is the point where this becomes a less scary game. Maru's back up on the tank count, but he is down 20 Marines, and I love this scan on the front. Spirit's got a few sensor towers, has a 4th base established, but it is at its core a Marine tank army. It's not an army that has a huge tech advantage like, oh, I've got range libs and 8 Vikings, or I've got 3-port Raven. Spirit doesn't have that. He doesn't have 6, 7, 8 command centers. It's not like this is one of those games where it's like, oh, Maru's barely on 4 base versus a guy on 10 CCs. So Spirit's ahead, but it is not a gigantic lead. It's something which Maru has closed the gap on this many times in the past and could do it again. Fusion Core and 2 more starports go down, indicating that Spirit wants to play ranged Liberator Viking rather than Ravens, which I actually think is pretty damn effective. Much easier to micro that than to micro Ravens. Just have to be careful not to get caught too heavy into the air units to the point where you lose the Marine tank battle on the ground. No turrets or sensor towers on the right side. Maru caught blind on that right side. This triple drop could ruin him. Maru's got a big drop of Marines on the left. It doesn't look like Spirit's pairing it up, though. I like these little Marine run-bys Maru's doing. On the other hand, that triple drop on the right side, it's going to dive into the main base. Uh-oh. Does find the missile turret, but massive damage is going to go down. Spirit is forcing him back while diving down the right side, but Maru stims in. Liberator comes in the back as well. Viking Lib comes back for Maru. Maru stims in on the other side of the map. Can he get the command center? Spirit pulls his whole army back. Marines, Vikings will barely save the command center. He loses 8 SCVs, does take out a bunch of Vikings, a Liberator, and 12 SCVs. Ends up being a messy trade, but I think the command center went down in the main, so that itself is a huge pickup for Spirit. Definitely brings him out on top. If you're already ahead, forcing trades like this is really good for you. Maru has 4 starports in the production tab for a moment, but 2 of them I think got cancelled. And they've stopped building, so he needs to put SCVs on them. There we go. He does get SCVs building those starports again, but a big air advantage on the production for Spirit. Spirit, I'd love to see him get a few more commands, and as his 5th CC is finishing, but he's not really super rich. He's up just a few supply right now. On the right side of the map, looks like Maru's going to push out and chase Spirit out of his territory. Spirit quick to back away, and he's going to go armor rather than ship plating. Spirit only got +1 vehicle weapons, no vehicle weapon upgrades for Maru. Tanks, Marines, Vikings moving over those left side. Just had to clear the throat there for a second. This game looks like it might stalemate a little bit. Maru is building 2 command centers. He realizes this is going to be a much longer game. He's like, okay, just keep building these CCs, go into that big late game. And it's all going to be about the technical late game. So we're going to see a second. Is that only the 2nd factory for Spirit? Don't tell me Spirit forgot his 2nd factory up to this point. If it's a 3rd factory, I can get behind it, but I only see 1 tank in production. So that could be a very late 2nd factory, which Spirit does do sometimes. I called that a mistake when he was playing against Kua in Katowice. Maybe that actually is just the way he plays. He's like, not 1 factory is enough. We'll see. But 3 starport Viking Lib versus 3 starport Raven. This is a very different style. Spirit will probably have the Viking advantage. He almost certainly will. But Maru will have more Marines, more tanks, and if he can land the matrices on the tanks and then stim the Marines in, he could get some amazing fights. The thing is, if the Ravens get caught out by the Vikings and shot down, then they obviously just get absolutely bopped. So Spirit is a bit more static, right? He needs to be sieged up because he's going to probably have less Marines. He's going to have a lot of supply in Viking Lib, which obviously doesn't actually fight, right? It's all there to win the air battle and the positional battle. It's not going to do so well in a pitched Marine tank battle. Here we go, though. Actually, there's a lot of Vikings. More Vikings for Maru than I realized. Whoever wins the air fight could do very well. The Liberator sieging up the tanks. Maru's losing a few tanks to the Libs. The Libs are getting taken down. Maru decides to focus them, but the Vikings do pull back there for Spirit. Spirit drops in the main base. The Ravens fly into the drop. Oh, no. Maru loses 2 Ravens to that, and the Vikings are going to crush this battle. Maru needs to get out of there and maybe even give this base up. Looks like the drop gets defended from the main, but the Vikings of Spirit doing well. He's thinking about landing on those tanks, and I actually think it would be a brilliant move. Then he could move all of these tanks in range of the planetary. Spirit can absolutely go for it while the Marines are still moving back, but doesn't choose to, does move the tanks forward. The Vikings are saying, no, let's not trade Vikings. I want to maintain air control. 18 Vikings is way too many. The thing is, Maru just doesn't seem to have that many other army units, and the way Spirit keeps dropping in the main makes it really hard for Maru to engage on this. I think Maru has to give this base up. Yeah, Maru's just going to lose this base. Spirit doing a great job of multi-prong zone control. Maru needs to build a ring of turrets and sensor towers in the main. Maru F2 to pull his whole army to the front. Spirit's getting him to panic a little bit. If Spirit goes back in that main with that drop, I don't think Maru can deal with it. And the Vikings coming forward and putting on so much pressure. Maru bleeding out units to this. And like I said, the drop goes back in. Maru panic F2ing. Maru never panic F2s. I can't believe it. This is so uncharacteristic for Maru, but Spirit, the big boy, is just applying so much pressure. I mean, Maru still has so many expansions on the left side of this map. So even though he's messing up on the tactical side, he does lose 2 tanks at the front. Even though he's messing up on the tactical side and losing so many Ravens, Maru is still doing fine economically, but he's got to change those starport rallies. Liberator on the left side there. Spirit's going to march these tanks forward. And oh my god, the rally there is in big trouble. Maru's kind of grabbing his whole army and trying to move across the map. But Spirit's driven a wedge between him. He's got lots of tanks and turrets at home, as well as extra command centers. Spirit is a little bit better prepared, I think, for this situation. Maru's going to try to base trade, but this has been telegraphed. This is not a surprise base trade attempt. This is a, oh god, I'm desperate base trade attempt. And Spirit's getting in towards his production, getting in between his bases. Let's see if Maru can break him. He gets 1 matrix, 2 matrixes, but there's 5 tanks, a pack of Marines, and a Lib on the right side. This is not going to work that well for Maru. The Liberator ruining him, getting a bunch of those siege tanks. Now, don't get me wrong, Maru will get rid of 1 base, but he needed to crack the defenses. This is not enough, and now the tank Marine of Spirit is up his guts. The Vikings coming back here, looking for some snipey snipes for Spirit, but gets caught out by the Marines, and that's a good defense by Maru, pulling back, getting ready to sandwich this army. I think Spirit, if he grabs his rally and moves down the left side of the map, he'll get position. His Vikings going to get back in time. He's got to land these Vikings. He's got to land the Vikings to defend the tanks, but no, he doesn't get it there in time, and he does get broken. Maru finally breaks that army, but he's lost starports. He lost so many SCVs. He's lost a lot of infrastructure, and the Lib harass just never ends, man. The Lib harass never ends. Spirit is up like 40, 50 supply. The economy that looked so good for Maru, 61 SCVs now only. His production got hammered. He's lifting his main down, and the Liberators, they just never stop. Every time you think you're going to get a moment to yourself, Spirit's like, Liberator! Just keep sieging those into your bases over and over again. I feel like it's not like each one is devastating. It's just completely not letting Maru get in his rhythm. Just obstructing his rhythm, forcing him to do things. Another one went down the right side, I believe, and got cleaned up there. But that planetary at the front's going to go down. This Liberator will get cleaned up. Doesn't really do much that time. But I just love that he keeps building them. The Viking advantage is so big that Spirit just needs to make sure his tanks don't get caught out. And if he focuses on Marine production, the thing is, like in this situation as Maru, when your opponent has air control and they just have more army than you, there's not much you can do. Normally, the weakness of Spirit going for so many Viking Lib is you have way more Marines, but I don't actually think there's a Marine advantage for Maru because he's just so far behind. If he does have one, it's pretty small. He's going to need to wait for the max out, look for those big interference matrices on the tanks, and then maybe he can jump through. But those Ravens still need a lot of time to gather energy. Maru's trying to split his army up, and Spirit very patiently expanding across the map, adding more orbitals, +2 vehicle weapons, and +2 ship weapons on the way against the 111 mech upgrades for Maru. Vikings there, still veering around very nicely. It looks like another drop into the main, which never got turreted up on that right side. Or is it just a run by 3 Marines? Not a lot, but they could do decent damage. Unfortunately, not being microed by Spirit. So they will just hit the command center before getting cleaned. But Spirit... Oh my god, Maru pulled his whole army for that? Maru F2'd his whole army to the right side of the map. That is super uncharacteristic. That actually, I cannot believe those 3 Marines tickling the command center actually pushed Maru out of position. Maru's going to try to jump forward, but his Marines are so clumped. His Ravens get focused down. He gets 5 matrices off, but his Marines get shredded. Just forcing his Marines through a choke point. Spirit got sieged between the bases. Maru thought, I have to defend this position. I cannot let you take this position. But those Marines got clumped up to all hell and beyond, and that was a devastating situation. The Vikings also shot down a few of the Ravens. I'm surprised Maru got 5 matrices off, but it didn't matter because his Marines were just going through way too much of a choke point. And look at that transformation servo. Vikings take one for the team. They land and do help clean up some units, but he decides better if it does lift and get out of there. Maru's down 60 supply. Gold base being taken by Spirit on the right side of the map. Spirit continuing to remax. He's getting extra upgrades, continuing very well. And it's fascinating to see. I definitely feel like we're seeing that rare case where Maru feels like the player with pressure on him in a TVT. That is so rare. Normally it feels like everyone who's against Maru looks so desperate in TVT. This time around, it feels like he's just like, hey, dude, Spirit's like, I'm just playing TVT. And Maru is the one who's like, God, I got to do something. I got to make something happen, man. This is not the Maru that I'm used to seeing, but Spirit has been so on point lately. And no one thought he would beat Q, and no one thought he would beat Zaun. No one thought he'd be favored versus Strayer and Showtime and all these other guys that he had very close matches versus. Not winning all of those, but always looking very competitive with all of those players. And oh, nice siege from the high ground. He will get some big volleys on the Marines. That was very cute, but he's already lost mining on that base there. And the one to the top left, the Liberator's denying it all. I mean, Spirit's so committed here. Yeah, but he's got plenty of units on his rally, and Maru is just so outsupplied. Maru's having to move his economy to the right side of the map, migrate that there. He's got SCVs all stuck, refugees all huddling in a camp in the top left corner of the map you can see on the mini-map. And there's a Liberator stopping them going back to mining. Maru thinks about counterattacking, but he says, well, there's too many units there. And the thing is, in looking to counterattack, he might sandwich his army. If Spirit collapses from the north and the south onto this, he might be able to just collapse on it. Maru's going to try and close in before that happens. Brings the SCVs from the north. A great move for Maru, but he's got a siege. He's got a siege. Army's coming in from the south for Spirit. He's a little too slow to siege. But no, Spirit backs off. It was only a pack of Marines from the south. Not as many units as I want. Maru still breathing a little deeply there, but he does get mining back up on this top left base. He's got to stop those Vikings getting home. He really should split these Marines down to the left, but feels like he goes in the wrong direction. Maru's worried about a counter push on the right side of the map. He does intercept the counter push on the right side of the map. Looks like it was just a few Marines, but that means he lets about 10, 12 Vikings get home. And I think that would have been a juicy pickup in this game. He's going to move forward and be the one sieging for once, but it's only a matter of time till new Liberators get out. Actually, new Liberators only just started. If there's no Libs on the map, he could get the Planetary, and it looks like he will. Mass Repair starts going down. Those +1 siege tanks, and Maru doing very well. Remember, it's 2/2/2 upgrades for Spirit's mech units. Maru's mech units not doing as much damage. Liberator's continuing to harass, but he's got 4 missile turrets around that base. Maru has been traumatized by Liberators to the point of, okay, I'll build 4 missile turrets around all my bases, you piece of poo. Maru will just not give up in this game, though. I mean, he gets another one. You're kidding me. Maru! Oh my god, is Maru actually going to make the comeback? He's looked dead in the water for a while here. Keep in mind, guys, if Maru can win this, he stays in for the next match. But if Spirit wins this match, he trades out for Maru. They both lose a life in this team league, and that would be absolutely massive for Kaizi Gaming. Marine stimming on the tanks. Maru's tanks caught in the open. Only loses 2 or 3. Could have been worse. Does keep his Marines out of tank range of Spirit very well. But, oh, get out. Watch out for those Vikings, man. Those Vikings are just so bullying. The way Spirit controls the air makes it very scary for Maru. Maru's going to move down that right side one more time while trying to defend with the rally. Maru has 2 bases on the right side mining, 1 base in the far top left mining. It's incredible that he's managing to keep these scraps of economy up. Spirit's got 3 bases mining, but only 2 of those are super fresh. I still think Spirit's income is a little better. But here we go. Big scary push on the front. What's Maru got in the rally to defend? Looks like he doesn't have much. I thought he would have a few tanks sieged on the natural and so on. It looks like, oh, he does. 2 tanks and a pack of Marines on the natural, but he didn't think he could move so far out. Over 100 workers have died for Maru this game, and he loses that command center. He's bringing Marines back, but his tanks are going to kill Spirit's 4th base over there, or 4th, 6th, I don't know, A base, the Planetary in the bottom right. Marines go back there for Maru, looking for the potential flank on that army, not able to get it. It looks like Spirit broke through with the Liberators. broke through the siege tanks. These Liberators keep breaking Maru's defensive positions, and in the multitasking, it's very hard to save those siege tanks. Spirit has lost most of his mining. That base is going to go down. Maru scans, clicks the SCVs. Maru still has 2 bases mining, but siege tanks are going to eliminate one of those 2 bases. Maru's down 55 army supply. Spirit still has money in the bank. He's way ahead on the upgrades. And the Liberators are going to break the main, which eliminates the production. Oh, no. Oh, no. The Liberator tank in the top right. The SCVs try to pull on those siege tanks. The tanks are on siege. +3 vehicle plating. Siege tanks are only taking 1 damage a hit. It takes 150 SCV hits to kill a siege tank with this upgrade differential. Oh, Maru with the spready of the gods comes in with a big 360 and says, sorry, did you not play Tony Hawk Pro Skater back in the day? Let's be honest, that came out before I was born, but how do you like that 360, dickhead? Spirit right now, very focused. He just lost a lot of units, but if he can save the air units, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. The Lib Viking in the top right side doing what they can. Nice siege up for Spirit. Turns what could have been cornered units into a very effective situation. Chat's saying it was a 270 at best, not a 360. Shut your mouth, guys. Shh, shh. The command center is all floating back. Maru has no economy. Maru did a very nice break, but he's so far behind in this game. I don't know if it's enough. Marines get a bunch of Vikings. Good trade on that handful of Marines. Tank gets a good shot off as well for Maru, but the Libs are here, and the Libs are such day ruiners. Maru is like, I'm playing pretty good StarCraft, and the Liberator's like, are you? Are you? The Liberators are the special unit of Spirit. Honestly, his Liberator usage is god tier. This is absolutely insane. Liberator trying to siege on that side after killing the turrets. And yet again, Maru is like, get out of here with your stupid Libs. Can you please F2? F2. Stop using Lib harass effectively. But Spirit here says, I will not F2. I will Lib harass you until dawn. I will Lib harass you until the sun goes down over your army, which is 60 army supply lower than mine. The Liberator denying the last vestiges of Maru's economy. A desperate counterattack. That army needs to win the game. Maru, he's got 4 tanks, a medevac, and a dream. That one medevac right now is the one urgent care clinic doctor trying to heal 50 people at once. He tries to ambush on the army, but the Lib tank siege is too quick, and the Marines come in from behind. Spirit with a big smile on his face, and deservedly so. That was a pretty epic game. That was beautifully done, and you can see, shaking his head, he's a little bit surprised and impressed with himself, as he should be. He trades out for Maru, and that is well above what either side expected or wanted there. GG. Alright, going into the next match, guys. We've got Reynor versus Solar. Solar in the bottom right, red player. Reynor in the top left in the blue. I believe Reynor was kind of feeling a little ill after Katowice, someone told me. But despite that, I mean, I always expect great play from him. And Solar as well. I think played really well at Katowice. I do think he had some disappointing engagements versus Maru, but when your Terran opponent is putting as much pressure on you as Maru does all game long, I think it's pretty understandable. Am I bumping my mouse or something? Why does that bottom bar keep coming up? Get out of here! Get out of here, bottom bar! Looks like Hatch Gas Pool on Neo Humanity for both players. Solar not bothering making a choke point with that. Neither is Reynor. Both of them just leaving things wide open for now. And yeah, why does this keep popping up? What's going on? Am I something getting bumped here? I'm like, what are these cords pulling? Sorry, guys. Apologies for that. I don't want that that bar at the bottom. Like I said, we've got to do this off this this feed, so hopefully that stops getting bumped or whatever's going on. And we are going to see a Zerg versus Zerg. Now, remember, this could be very action-packed and over very quickly because it's Zerg versus Zerg. Carapace all-ins are like 50% of games, right? I feel like every player, maybe 1/3 of their games, goes for the Carapace, Roach, Ravager, Ling, Bane attack. The problem is, if every player does that 1/3 of the time, and there's 2 different players, feels like roughly 2 in 3 games, one of the players is doing a Carapace build. We'll see what happens here. Ling speeds up a second faster for Reynor. No big variances so far. Just 2 Lings to poke across the map, both going for that Overlord now, popping out here. And I think third base will probably be taken in the triangle at the front. Very few players are expanding in the straight line and mining the gold minerals out, even though I do think it's so easy to defend that base. Players just are like, what? Why would I mine the gold minerals? Bonus mining? That's crazy. Reynor, you mad dog. Going for the rich gas. And guess what, guys? I think he's planning to break those rocks in the middle so that if Solar wants to punish it with aggression, he's going to get walled off. So I would not be surprised if he does that. Baneling Nest goes down. Very safe timing as well for Reynor. Now, Solar might be clever here and say, you're going to be so paranoid about me attacking this. I can be extra greedy. But as I say that, Solar does start up 6 lings. So never mind. It does look like Solar wants to be aggressive, guys. Keep an eye on that production tab. 6 lings started. His Overlord's popped. And no, he builds 2 more drones. So it's not complete commitment. But he is building 8 more Zerglings as well. So Solar's going to do a medium-sized Ling Bane pressure. And a Roach Warren goes down immediately behind it, which tells us... And he's hidden the Roach Warren in the back. Oh, no, it is in the front. Sorry, never mind. Bad commentary for me there. Roach Warren goes down for Reynor soon after, but it tells me such a quick Roach Warren is that he probably wants to go for a Roach follow-up, like a really quick one. And here we go. Ling's going to be attacking that base. I don't know if there's any Banelings here for Solar just yet. His Baneling Nest is finished, but he's just trying to kill that hatchery if he can. The Queens are out front. He's spreading creep forwards. Is Reynor. He's got some Banelings coming, and it looks like he does keep that hatchery alive. Now, let's go to rich gas on it, which is worth 2 gases mining. It mines at double the rate, plus 100%. It is fantastic because of that. Now, Solar's building roaches, but this is where Reynor just breaking the rocks in the middle should give him a big advantage, because that's going to slow down Solar's push significantly. But, I mean, he's just got to make sure he does break those rocks. He can't wait too long on that, right? Now, Reynor's trying to counterattack, and he's focusing on that, but... See? Oh, he gets a bit of an angle on some of those Zerglings. Not too bad. He's seen the Roach Horn at the front, but seeing no Evo, he should know what's up. There we go. He sees Roaches. He spots him now. He's got to pull back and break those rocks right now. He has to break those rocks. There was a Ling running into his base, seeing what's going on. Reynor's at 37 drones versus the 30 of Solar. He's left it too late. He's left it too late. Oh, no. Oh, no. Solar's going to get through. This is why you've got to damage this ahead of time. Oh, no, he's going to lose a lot of lings. I mean, he'll get it down. Okay, he does get it down. Oh, I kind of wish he kept breaking it there. It's just he didn't want his lings to get crushed. So the Roach is just going to break down these other rocks on the left side. It's going to buy him a little bit of time. But how much, really? The Ling's trying to do a bit of a backstab here for Solar. Roach is coming out. It's going to buy about 10 more seconds as Reynor. He did lose a few lings in that trade. Uh-oh, he's got to be careful with his positioning here. That's a lot of massive army advantage for Solar. Banes need to deal with the Zerglings. He cannot lose his Banelings, Reynor, but the Lings go for a run by. Genius move by Solar. He just runs his Lings up to the top. Looks like some of the Lings did blow up on the Banes, but the Queen and the Zerglings will stabilize there. On the front, though, more Roach Ling coming in. The Ravager Morphs are really effective here. He's got to focus them down. Reynor's got to focus those Ravager Cocoons. If he does not focus those Ravager Cocoons, that's going to be a big mistake. There we go. Banelings take him out. Baneling takes out a few more Lings. Reynor may have held this. He's up 10 drones still. The Queen in the main is going to get taken out, but it looks like he might just barely have stabilized. Very, very close hold. But if he can stabilize, he'll be good. It's still a very short rush distance for Solar. More Lings coming in. Oh god, this base is so exposed. Reynor looks like he might be losing drones in the main as well. 2 Lings in the main that he hasn't noticed killing so many drones. Oh god, it looks like Solar just barely having enough numbers to crack over the front. More Queens and Roaches popping out. Those drones running away from this base. Reynor's still up 5 workers. He might be okay, but he doesn't know just how low on drones Solar is. Solar committing to the aggression. 6 drones in total have gone down. Reynor's still up 4 workers. If he loses his third, though, he's in the doo-doo. And I'll tell you what, guys, there's a lot of places you want to be, but for hygienic and health purposes, you do not want to be in the doo-doo. Definitely not with any open wounds, and Solar right now is stabbing hard. He is going for that victory. The Ling's getting this around in those Roaches, not letting them retreat. Reynor doesn't have the gas to morph any Ravagers here. He is microing back as well as he can, but he's just a little bit shy on the production. Oh, the Ling surround. Remember, this is no carapace. This is a much quicker timing in reaction to Reynor going for that greedy purple gas base. And, I mean, it felt like this is exactly what he was expecting, the sort of strategy for Solar to be doing. Despite it, Solar just plays that so crisp, so well, gets on in there, and it looks like he's done the damage. Gets rid of the third base. He's going to keep going. Still up 5 workers is Reynor, but now being down a hatchery, and with the momentum going the way it is, the Lings run past the Baneling. Biles are dodged by Reynor, but he's got to pull his drones into the fight, which always sucks. Roaches will want to focus down that Cocoon, maybe, but no. Lings coming in. Baneling. Oh, big juicy Baneling for Reynor. He's already lost 7 drones, though. Biles do miss there for Solar. Some Roaches are attacking a Roach Horn. Slight mistake there for Solar. He's going to have to keep microing these units in, but as the next wave of Lings come in, I think Reynor is just overwhelmed. 3 hatch versus 2 hatch. Solar's also adding a few drones behind this. And remember, the Queens kept getting killed all game long for Reynor, so he was missing injects and not able to flood as many Lings as Solar. Very nice aggression. Punishes the greedy build. All right, Reynor fell to that one. Now going into Babylon in the top left side. Reynor in the bottom right side, we've got Solar. representing Onsyde Gaming. So Reynor's already lost his life for this one. If Reynor can win this game, at least he'll eliminate Solar. If Solar gets the 2-0, remember, he stays in for the next Kaizi player to come out. And that would be very unfortunate for Kaizi Gaming. Now, of course, Reynor has actually joined Basilisk as of the day I'm casting this, guys. About a week after this was played. But, yeah, this was played when he was still on Kaizi Gaming. So just heads up, big congrats to him. He was signed with Kaizi for the duration of WTL. Reynor actually ended up playing, I think it was like total 22 games through the playoffs because they played against so many teams. Kaizi Gaming had to play from the very lowest place match, getting through from the groups all the way through to this point, which is the top 4 sort of match, I believe. So they've already played like 3 matches in a row up to this point. I mean, Reynor played so many games, it was crazy. Because he was like getting revived and revived and revived. It was like, it's just insane, man. I may have miscounted on that, but I'm just going to imagine I did the math correctly anyway. 1 gas, by the way, something Twitch chat pointed out after the last game. Solar did that whole thing off 1 gas. And that's part of why it was so efficient. Because he hit that 30 drone timing, it was just like this mixture of roaches and lings all off 1 gas. Whereas Reynor's caught trying to get the rich gas up, trying to go more roach heavy, having those 10 extra drones, and it was just very streamlined. Babylon's a reasonably small map. Neo-Humanity became a small map with Reynor's expansion pattern in that last game. Reynor's gone a very slow gas this game. I don't know if that was just to get the quicker spawning pool. You can see his queens are a few seconds faster. So this is way safer if your opponent 12 pool drone pools you or something like that. I do feel like Reynor's just playing a very safe opening. And I also think it factors in well because you've got a tight ramp on this map. So he's most likely going to skip Ling Speed and going to wall off with an Evo Chamber or Roach Warren and play the 2 base Roach wall off. Whereas Solar, on the other hand, is going Ling Speed. He's going to move out with a drone to take a 3rd base. So this is a very interesting dynamic. We haven't seen this dynamic all that often recently. And I wonder if Reynor plays it as a simple Roach timing, or does he wall off and then try to sneak up to mutas? Reynor's going 3rd hatch with no Ling Speed. Oh, Reynor's going to go Baneling Nest. Solar sees that very early Baneling Nest. He might actually be scared. Solar might be like, whoa, is he busting me? That's such an early Bane Nest. It's like 10 seconds earlier than most people go. The truth is, though, that Reynor's never planning to get Ling Speed. He's just getting a few Banes for defense, and then he's going to go straight up into Roach play. This is a very cool way. Just saves 100 minerals and 100 gas. You don't really have any aggressive potential off it, but it can pay off pretty well. Solar builds an Evo Chamber in the back. Interesting. It feels like Solar might already know what he's up against. And he might just go straight for +1 range himself and just play like 3 base Roach. Committing to only a handful of Zerglings, is he? To do some light pressure, which is always worth it. If they don't have Ling Speed, they're very immobile. So you can kind of run circles and just see if you get any pickoffs. Oh. Carapace going down. Okay, Solar is thinking about doing the big Carapace attack. Interesting. It's not a bad way to play, especially if Reynor ends up losing his Banes earlier on and doesn't replace him. If he's on just mass Roach, he can be in trouble. Reynor is droning pretty hard, but no Evo Chamber for Reynor. If Reynor wants to play a longer game, he better start that Evo, and it does go down now at just before 4 minutes. Solar has this all mapped out. 3 Overlords on the way. Solar's doing a 36 drone Carapace timing. Really? Wow, that's a very low economy Carapace timing. Interesting. Ling does get down. I don't think he ever built a Baneling Nest, so I think Solar's doing pure Roaches, Zerglings, Carapace, and maybe Ravages. He's only on 1 gas right now as well. Wait. Is he just going... Oh, Reynor's moving out with what is a fake. This is a fake push out, but Solar was already building Roaches for his own attack, so he'll be safe against this. Reynor's actually already up like 8-9 workers, and then Reynor turns around. Problem is, turning around means he doesn't get to see the fact that Solar is massing Roaches. So Reynor's like, haha, tricked you into building some safety units, scared you, maybe made you made a spine crawler and then you had to cancel it. But he doesn't know Solar's doing a 36 drone all in. The Queen's going to kill this Overlord, which means he's not going to spot it moving out. Reynor's Overlord positioning is really weak this game, guys. I think he has 1 smack bang in the middle, but oh my god, the Carapace is almost done. The Roaches, it's going to be like 10 Roaches and a mass of Zerglings and a few Ravages morphing as well. Solar should be morphing those Ravages already, and he's going to break those rocks. I don't think Reynor can see this. Reynor's building Roaches, but he's got 3 more drones on the way. Reynor with no scout. Reynor is famous for not scouting. Him and Dark play very blind. Serral would absolutely have scouted this by now, but But Reynor, on the other hand, not very big on the scouting. He sees a few lings and that's it. The roaches are still not spotted. Reynor queues up 2 more drones, completely tricked. Solar going for a vicious timing. Reynor just did not expect this. He thought that this was not in the playbook of Solar, and so he was not prepared for it at all. Roaches on the right side. Those banelings are a bit of an issue, but if those lings can breach the natural, that'll work out. Oh, he sacrifices quite a few lings on them, does Solar. Good baneling connects there for Reynor, but he needs a few more. There's so many more lings coming in. The roachling doing so much work. Solar tries to morph for Ravager on the front. Reynor focuses down. Reynor's microing pretty well. A lot of drones have already fallen. He could pull a few more drones into this fight. Reynor's still up 6 workers. He's got to pull back. He's got to pull back. He's got 7 more roaches about to pop, but they're not quite here. The lings coming in as well. His slow zerglings even trying to fight. But there is so many lings rallying across this map. And Solar says, 1 gas all in. Easy peasy, mate. Mio Micah has taught me, well, if you just don't pull off that gas from the start of the game, you can make a surprising amount of stuff off a 1 gas build. And of course, Reynor, with that lack of scouting, this is one of the weaknesses of skipping ling speed, is you do not have the flexible scouting. And without an Overlord or something peeking in on the 3rd base, there was no way to see if Solar was droning it. And look at that beautiful surround. Solar comes in. These banelings could get some big juicies, but the Zergling blocking the wall off. And he does get some pretty nice hits, does Reynor. But remember that Solar's already adding a layer +1 range behind this, which means he'll be ahead 2 upgrades in this game. Even if Reynor can defend, he's down in workers and down 2 upgrades, and that is not something you recover from easily. Reynor will hang on for now, but I don't think it matters. It's a Pyrrhic victory. He's lost multiple queens. Solar could click on that 3rd hatchery. I think he just realized at that point, he's like, oh yeah, I can click that. And you're back to 2 base as well. Reynor's done. He will hang in it because, of course, he doesn't want to just lose his life and get eliminated by Solar. Kaizi Gaming did trade Spirit for Maru, which was definitely a good punch-up. But if Solar 2-0s Reynor, then that also is a fantastic punch-up where Solar could even get a double kill someone else after this. And that's huge. Reynor's going to threaten. He's got roach speed, but he only has a handful of roaches. Solar is rock solid. 52 drones, roach speed, +1 range. Solar doesn't even need to hide what he's doing. The numbers are ridiculous. He's got double the army supply, and he just played a very intelligent, smooth series. Good reactive timing attacks, no hesitation, and playing a smallish map on Babylon, and even denying the Overlord scouts like he did earlier to hide the push. Really well done by Solar. Reynor's got to be a little annoyed at this, but Solar's just an expert at Zerg vs. Zerg. He, I believe he beat Serral in the group stage as well, right? I think Solar and DRG both beat Serral 2-1 at Katowice. He sees that there's not that many roaches with the Overseer. He's already on his way. Solar up 20 army supply. He's got 1-1 versus no upgrades for Reynor. And that is nasty. So many roaches with so many better upgrades. The Queen's trying to help even that out. More roaches flooding out of the base. The defender's advantage is not enough. Double upgrade advantage, 20 army supply advantage. And that's going to be curtains. Solar getting a dominating 2-0. He's got to hydrate. Says, these victories are making me thirsty. All right, guys, they forced Oliveira to come out for Kaizi Gaming. You can see in the top left, Kaizi Gaming, or top middle, Kaizi Gaming only has 2 lives remaining. Up in the top right, Solar coming out again, preserving their lives and able to stay in. So 3 lives left for Onsyde, only 2 for Kaizi. And the map is going to be Altitude, which is terrible for Terran. However, Oliveira honestly vetoes the weirdest maps. He plays so weird. Solar! Look at that! Manages to get the drink of water in and still gets the hatchery on 300 minerals. That was really quick. I almost wanted to show an instant replay there, but I think you guys caught it. You guys can go back a few seconds if you want to catch it. I was impressed. That was a very quick drink of the water without delaying him putting his hatchery down. Alex Solar with the 9 months. Thanks for the love, mate. I'll give you guys more shout outs after. But Altitude, this is a big map. And I mean, I was like, maybe you play 2-port BC. When he was playing Reynor, I said on the desk right before the match at Katowice, I was like, yeah, bad first map for him. It's kind of a freebie, free advantage for Reynor. Maybe go 2-port BC. That was kind of transparent. Reynor went OV speed, scouted it, and shut it down. So why is Oliveira let this map in? Or was the map already set? I'm not sure how the vetoes work for these series. So maybe Oliveira's like, you know what? I can just play Biomine and out multi-prong you. I mean, you can do it. The bases are pretty far spread out. And I do think if you're confident in your multitasking and your mobility, There is an argument that maps like Altitude and a lot of these maps actually are perfectly fine for Terran as long as they maintain control of the momentum. And let's be real, I've talked about this a lot. I think this map pool should favor Zerg and Protoss a little versus Terran. However, recently, Zerg and Protoss players are so used to just turtling versus Terran in the early and mid game, and they're not going out there and controlling the map as much as they should. And as a result, Terran are turning what I thought would be disadvantaged maps to their advantage. So I think I keep saying advantage, disadvantage, repeating myself. Essentially, what Zerg needs to do on this map is lots of Ling backstabs is one of the best things you can do here, right? You could go mass Roach because the third's very exposed and go for a big timing attack, but I really feel that you're very exposed. Oh, Solar! Fumbling his drone micro, loses a drone. Oliveira getting a snipe on one of the biggest maps on the pool. Very lazy by Solar. His Lings could have tanked a lot more damage there. Obviously, lots of snow going across the map. You guys can turn off the snow when you're playing on maps like this. If you just go into your graphics settings, turn off the environmental effects. Sometimes there's weird little sound effects on certain maps as well that can be quite off-putting. No creep tumor snipes for him. Third command center does go down behind this for Oliveira, so it looks like he wants to just play up into that 3 command center zone. No starport just yet either. Interesting build order for Oliveira. I guess we're just going to see a second and third barracks. He does like this build. Yeah, he's done this before. It's a good build. It's a little slower than the really quick second barracks 2-on-1, but he will have a few Hellions out to potentially pressure. No ability to build a Banshee, so if there was a big Ravager Ling timing, I feel like Oliveira probably dies to it, but it's very rare Zerg plays that on such a big map. That's why you're going for this build. And the Overlord pokes in, sees an extra barracks, sees the factory building an add-on, maybe? Nope, just sees the barracks going down, knows it's bio, not mech. That in itself is pretty important because 2-fact Blue Flame, popular on this map, 2-port Banshee, any form of battle mech. It's really cool. Interesting to see the gas going down for Solar here at 4:30. We have seen Zergs taking an extra gas a bit earlier. Lair goes down. Expect a Baneling Nest and a double Evo chamber, probably around 5:20. Roach Horn. Oh, okay. Solar's going to play the Roach style. I mean, a 1-1 Roach timing is deadly on this map. It really can be deadly. Did we just not hear the attack noises? That was weird. I think swapping between the players' visions, of course, made that a little bit weird on the sound effects, but it is what it is. 10 drones on the way. Double Evo chamber very early. Solar wants to hit at 7.5 minutes with 1-1 upgrades, maybe 8 minutes, with a max of roaches, or at least a very large amount of roaches. If Oliveira builds Widow Mines, he's in big trouble. If he goes for tanks, he should be okay. But if he doesn't start building siege tanks, he could be in big trouble, especially if he builds a lot of infrastructure at his third. A lot of players build a lot of depots out there, but it's almost impossible to defend that third base from the build that Solar's doing. 1-1 on the way, Roach Speed on the way. Solar has got a fourth base as well to make it look a bit more like a normal build. He's also got some Lings out, so he really is hiding the fact that he's going mass Roach. And I only see reactors, I don't see tanks building. Oh, no, no, no. Oliveira may be in trouble here. And he really wants to get a 2-0 on Solar to try and even things up. Okay, Zergling does come in. SCVs take a little bit of damage, but none of them go down. Armory's on the way behind this. And that Roach count is growing. Like I said, guys, 1-1 Roach speed. Probably about 8 minutes, but it could be earlier than that. It could be 7.5. And that's going to be a deadly attack. Widow Mines are building for Oliveira. Now, Widow Mines can slow the advance of a big Roach Ravager attack because they can do big splash damage to clumped roaches. But they also can just get biled down from out of range without hitting anything, which is the big issue that often happens. Now, Roach production still coming out. As this drop comes in, it should force Solar to show his Roaches. And that is going to make Oliveira panic a little bit. Oh, Queens are there, and there we go. He sees the Ravagers, and immediately Oliveira should know. Oh, God. Oh, God. Immediately, Factory swaps off the Reactor onto a Tech Lab. He has a second Factory building. He's going to try and use that as well. The Marine's going to try and drop in here, but the Zerglings are on top of it. Not a good trade for Oliveira. Oliveira, get out. Oh, no. He loses a medevac. He's going to try and shove the front. Just says, well, the best defense is probably a good offense. Right now, I have 1-1. You don't. Maybe I can get some damage done. But if he throws these units away, the Roach Ravager counterswing is going to be even more deadly. And indeed, he loses Widowmine's Hellbats. He's going to try and keep counter-dropping to keep Solar on his side of the map. And he's got to pull back to his natural. He should not be out there at his third. He should have already pulled the SCVs, in my opinion. But, dude, Oliveira's going to get ransacked. I don't know how he can win this game. I don't think he's got any tanks out. He needs to be on the high ground. The medevac on the right gets shut down. These Marines on the left will get a few Overlords, but then they will get jumped on. The Roach Ravager is out front. SCV's going down. That factory will go down. I'm actually surprised Solar didn't just shove up the ramp for the victory here. Going for the more conservative play with the Roaches. Is he able to defend the Marines at home? Picture-in-picture shows yes, he forced Oliveira to pick up. And he's going to gather up to break their natural. The tanks, where are the tanks? Oliveira didn't lift the factory on the third base. He does save the command center though. He's got Liberators sieging on that ramp. He's going to have one tank on the high ground that could make this ramp unbreakable. But you can kill every SCV, bile the depots, swap into Banelings, drone your fourth base. I mean, Solar has got complete control of this game. He starts +2 carapace, +1 melee. And this is why this is such a good build for this map. The 1-1 Roach timing. Absolutely delicious. Spores are building. 3 more spores constructing behind their Solar showing. He realizes that this is going to be a game where Oliveira Omega Turtles and tries to claw his way back with like drops and stuff. So, you know, go for Hive, get Burrow and Tunneling Claws so you can trade your Roaches off efficiently. And he should actually go home with some units. And it looks like he is. He's splitting some units home, hopefully enough to defend that triple drop down the right side. Oliveira's going to try and float the command center out. Hive is on the way. Solar maybe going to try and bile the medevac, but he's just going to back off for now. Fair call. Oh, Roach Ravager getting shot by those siege tanks. He's going to have to pull on back. Oh, triple drop diving the main. Solar, he's going to spot it only now, and he hasn't reacted just yet. Spore Crawlers are going to limit the mobility of this drop, though. Queens should be able to get one of these medevacs, I think, but one of the Queens will go down. I don't really know if I agree with the Spore Crawler pickup. Oh, Hive Snipe incoming! And he gets the Hive, gets out with 2 of those medevacs. All 3 medevacs, in fact. Wow. Oliveira fighting from behind. Dude, if he wins this game, that would be ridiculous. But like, I still don't think there's any real way. Solar is so far ahead. But hey, Liberator Harass is nice. Marine stimming it on the right side as well. They're going to overwhelm the handful of Roaches that are there. Solar maybe getting too aggressive. If Oliveira just stays up his ramp, he'll be fine. Oh my God, Solar. Oh, no. He was so far ahead, but he loses his 4th as well. Oh my God. Looks like the Liberator did finally go down, but Oliveira getting some damage. And this means Solar doesn't have Hive Tech. He can't make Broodlords. From this position, you honestly can just make Broodlords. Broodlord around a Broods, because the Terran is always turtle up on mass tank, and usually you can win. A few Infestors are amazing as well. Obviously, you can just go Ultras, play, you know, Lingbane Ultra. But now he doesn't have that economy either. I mean, he's got a 5th in the top left, so Solar's still in a very winnable position by, you know, even I would say a big advantaged position, sorry. Winnable is not good enough. It's way better than winnable. But keep in mind the supply and bank advantage is bigger than it is smaller than it looks. He's got so much Roach Ravager. He's got to try and tunnel those into the bases and do damage and trade them off for better, higher quality units. Because Oliveira is making it to max out. And Solar's basically got to go burrow his Roaches into the base when Oliveira moves out to push him. If he can do that, trade off the Roaches, replace them with Lings, Banes, better quality units, he'll be good. Man, Infestors would be game changers here. Vipers would be good versus the tanks, but I actually think the Marines are the bigger problem. Obviously, pros always disagree. They say tanks and blinding clouds are the answer. Trying to just skirmish out here, and those Roaches are on the bottom right. But, oh God, he lost all his Banelings. Oh God, he's getting chased down. Oliveira with some decisive moves. Roaches are going to run in on the third base. Good move. If he could just pull Oliveira back, kill 10, 15 SCVs, this might be okay. He's going to go after the tanks. He gets 1 tank on the rally there. And another tank is up there, which means these Roaches need to try to get out of there. My God, they are not trading well. Liberator on the left side once again. Liberators! Dude! Kaizi Gaming's hero unit is the Liberator. Spirit using it versus Maru. Oliveira using it here. The world champion was not a flash in the pan, guys. The world champion player, who I know there's a lot of pessimists who said it was a one-off, it was a fluke. It was his day. He's not going to actually become a top player after this. He's still going to be a rank 20 player. You are absolutely wrong, because he right now is in the midst of making an epic comeback versus one of the absolute best Zergs in the game from down 100 supply. But can he actually close it out? The tank's a little unsieged there. Here comes a nice move, but so many Marines from behind. 20 SCVs go down on the third, though. Oliveira just lost 20 SCVs, which is very unfortunate. This might now become an all-in. Oh, he stands his ground against the Banelings. Those roaches being such a pain in the nuts right now. The tank of the Liberator will finally clean it up, but Oliveira, he's down 30 workers now. 3 base versus 5. And that's a big issue, because +3 carapace, +2 melee, chitinous plating all on the way. Trying to replace the roaches with ravages is solar. I mean, I guess I'm personally not a big fan. I think the extra supply they waste doesn't make up for how trash they are in terms of their raw stats as units. But Solar just says, hey, Biles at least can kill the tanks and the libs, and then I'll remax with Ultra Ling as I send these roaches into harass. 4th base is now up for Oliveira, but he's not building SCVs. He's focusing purely on army. He's doing a slow, deliberate all-in attack here to counter those Marines trying to pick off these Banes, these Ravagers trying to get the good fights. I'd like to see him move one more tank forward. Big Ling run by is coming in. More Roaches coming in from behind as well. The tank gets some good shots off. Ling's on the left side being an absolute bummer, though. I feel like Solar's playing this so well, and he can give up this base on the right side. He can just wait for Blinding Cloud, give that base up, keep backstabbing, and Oliveira is the one who has to make a play because his economy is deep in the doo-doo. He's up shit creek without a paddle right now. And Solar playing an excellent game of StarCraft. Yes, he got a massive lead and kind of let that one slip away earlier, but now he is at double the work account. He's got those, he's bought himself time for the upgrades to finish. Viper's coming in from the left side. One of them does not have much energy, but there we go. Blinding Cloud all over these tanks, and that is a brilliant engage. Solar is an absolute tank. And what? Oh, I thought he had the numbers. He didn't, he ran out of units there. I thought he had the numbers. 3-3 versus 2-2. Oh, it was before 3-3 finished. Oh no, it was the double upgrade advantage was huge there, and there's only like 1 or 2 ultras. I don't even know if kindness plating was done. Dude, I thought Solar actually had that fight, but no way. A miscall and fights left, right, and center here. Oliveira really just fighting hard with his heart. You know, tooth and nail right now. Marines not good versus ultras. Not good versus ultras. The tanks will clean them out eventually, though. And the ultras do go down. Oh my god. Dead even supply, but double the army. Solar's got, what, a few Lings popping out. These ultras getting baited into the tank fire. The Lings not in large enough numbers to deal with it. Blinding Cloud goes down, but there's no units to capitalize. And Oliveira has just made an immaculate comeback. This was beautiful play on such a terrible situation. He was down 100 supply. I'm going to go back and check at the end. I'm going to go back and check. I swear it was 100 supply. Very close. At least 80 or 90. And when you lose your third like that, and I said if he builds infrastructure at his third, he's screwed. Oliveira did. He did exactly what all the top Terrans do. Fall way behind to a roach timing, but he did what they almost never do, which is come back from down 100 supply afterwards. Solar looking frustrated, and Oliveira knows he earned that one. Oh my god, this guy is such a beast. He's not a flash in the pan. That was sick. Okay, so let's just take a look back. Yeah, at this point, he's about 60 supply behind. Once this third gets lifted, there is a point here where he's down about 80 supply. So it wasn't 90 or 100. It was about an 80 supply advantage. But Oliveira did have an upgrade advantage. I gotta say, though, that snipe on the hive was just brilliant. Well done. All right, well, Solar now going into Gressman in the bottom right side. Oliveira's in the top left, and my god, that was frustrating. Solar looked a little tilted. I've played, and don't get me wrong, I've thrown games from that situation Solar has. I actually know that situation very well. But, yeah, man, the snipe on the 4th on top of the hive snipe, and then the Liberator behind it. Brilliant maneuvers to get himself back in the game for Oliveira. Defended the roach run bys pretty well as well. Didn't overextend on his push. So many players get too eager with their push, move their tanks too far forward and get them corrosive biled. And Solar just could not get the biles on top of it. That was really sick. Which means Solar's already lost his life. We don't see the circa removed from the top just yet, but we know it will be at the end of this match. The question is, does Oliveira win 2-0 and preserve his life to tie up the series 2-2? If so, Oliveira will get to stay in against the next opponent. Should be very exciting. Ryung, of course, waiting in the wings. Oh, Neeb as well. I forgot to mention Neeb, guys. Sorry. Neeb, of course, plays for Onsyde Gaming as well. Here I am like, it's just Solar and Maru. Oh, they have Ryung as well. Neeb is pretty good too. So Neeb is also waiting in the wings. He could come out next, or Ryung. Reaper coming out. Did send the SCV across to make sure it was a hatchery first, which indeed it is. Solar does occasionally mix in a pool first. Something a bit weird. Reaper heading on across that map. Obviously, Oliveira and the Chinese players are in studio, which is why we've got them, you know, on camera when they're playing, which is really cool. It was really nice having like a bit of a live audience, and the Chinese commentators and players all in one location was really cool. Well, Reaper Ras doesn't find anything this time. Just wants to threaten, see if he can deny that creep tumor. The Lings could push forward a little bit here. I think Solar's being a little conservative, but great micro by Oliveira. That's very much like the way Clem micros in this scenario, where the Zerg is like, yeah, waiting until the other queen comes out to get the creep tumor down. Wow, great micro. Even in this case where you don't get the snipe, you're delaying that tumor by a good 15 seconds. It slows down the creep spread significantly. That's a whole spread behind from where it would be. Starport's coming down behind it this time around for Oliveira. You know, if I'm thinking about his recent strategies, I don't think he's had time to learn new builds. I think Oliveira might go Cloakless Banshee into 8 barracks again. Because I think he can assume Solar's not going to play Roaches 2 games in a row. And I think 8 racks is really good on this map. And the double Cloakless Banshee is just a very, very good build order. He said he copied that off Innovation when he did it at up against Reynor on, I think that was Neo Humanity where he pulled that one out. But either way, it is going to be a Viking. So actually more just like clean up the Overlords. Probably a Liberator after the Viking. And Solar droning up really nicely. He's going to actually send in that Overlord for a 4-minute sacrifice from way out front the natural. Oliveira should have seen that coming and could pull Marines out front to intercept it. I don't think it'll get to see too much, but I mean, the Viking's going to deal with it either way. Should spot the 3rd command center before it goes down. Oh, Armory on the way. Oliveira's going to play Hellbats. It's the 3cc Hellbat time, but he hasn't started any Marauders. Unless there's a second factory, I'm very confused. What? So is he going to... Oh, he's going to do the 4 Hellbat drop in the main and then the 4 Hellbats attack the 3rd. Oh, okay. Good build, good build. Yeah. And it's not overly committed. There's no Marauders or anything. Ah, the Ling sees the medevac. Not sure if Solar noticed that or not, though. Roach Warren is on the way. Solar is going to play Roaches 2 games in a row. This is a good map for Battle Mech as well as the last one. So maybe that's why Solar's just like, hey, open Roaches no matter what, but maybe don't commit as hard to the 1-1 timing this time around. We'll see how it goes. I'm sure Oliveira, if he sees the Roaches, will swap into tank production behind it. Double eBay and the 3 barracks coming down. Roach Horn's not ready just yet. Hellion Sniper Creep Tumor. And they will get ready, no doubt, to morph into Hellbats, but this one in the main is not going to be able to morph. Looks like he's just going to have to group up on that 3rd base, I would imagine. He's going to try and... Oh, he gets the morph! Okay, the Lings were not on top of that, and he does get the morph. Queen and Sporecrawler will come over. Queen's at the front, defending after losing just 1 or 2 drones. Sporecrawler and the Queen's going to push back these Hellbats. It looks like a solid defense for Solar. Solar is rock solid when it comes to defending very aggressive Terrans. Oh, and he cleans up a bunch of aliens at the front. The Hellbats get surrounded. The medevac does lift 2 Hellbats into the 3rd mineral line, but he's not able to get the drones. Only a couple of drones get sniped down. The Lings and the Queens will defend that. And that is a crisp defense for Solar. He's got to drop a 4th base, and oh, he's going to try and still go 1-1 Roach. I don't know why. I thought he was going to go melee Carapace there with just a few like Roaches / Ravages. But yeah, he's way ahead of Solar. I feel like he's got a good chance to go do a big attack. He is floating a bit of money, a little slow to get his gases down in Solar. So he's building a few more Zerglings. But there are tanks building. Oliveira is going to try and build a very quick 4th command center. It's kind of greedy. If he cuts any unit production, the Roach Ravager may overwhelm him. We'll see just how much that Hellbat timing delayed Solar in terms of what he's up to. Every bit of infrastructure that Oliveira builds on the 3rd is potentially a big problem, because if he has to lift the 3rd and run the workers away, which you usually do against the 1st Roach wave, you could get overwhelmed. But Solar doesn't have faith in it. Solar's going Hydra Den Infestation Pit. I think he's going to drone up his 4th base. He's taking both gases there. Solar's going to play the straight to Hive Lurker Viper style. Now, that's really good if your opponent is playing Paranoid, but I actually think Oliveira's playing really greedy, so he should be in an okay position in the late game to match this and get into his own Ghosts and Mass Siege Tank to deal with it. Ooh, Viking rotating around, not quite able to finish those Overlords. Spore Gorilla does save him. Double drop of Marines in the south side of the map. Gonna see if you can get some pick-offs. I think seeing a lot of Roach Ravager and seeing them not come across the map will make Oliveira feel very safe maybe a minute from now. Right now, he's got to be a bit paranoid. I wonder if he shuffles his positioning on his siege tanks back home very defensively. His 4th command center is finished, so we can always lift that and pull it back. But he's even going to send his drop home. No, he's going to float his 4th out. Oliveira is a mad lad, guys. This man has no fear. I think he figures if Solar's not actually sending those roaches straight across the map, he's not actually going to commit. And with double tank production, Oliveira is playing the most fearless Terran style ever. This is actually frustrating for Solar. Solar should have won game 1 with Oliveira playing as fearless and greedy as he did. But he didn't. He lost that game, and now Oliveira is even more fearless. Oliveira is going from strength to strength, and this is what happens if you lose a game where you were very advantaged from the decisions and should have won. The opponent gets to play so confidently with so little fear, and that's exactly what's happening here for Oliveira. He is playing just straight through the scary point of the game to the late game. Ghost Academy's done more command centers, more sensor towers. I don't think the Viper Lurker timing is that crisp. It's good, don't get me wrong, he's going to hit with Viper Lurker before 10 minutes, but there's going to be a lot of weight on the first attack for Solar to get some damage and momentum. If he can't get some good Blinding Clouds or Abducts, or maybe break the 3rd with a pack of Lurkers, then Oliveira is going to be so well set up for the late game. Remember, you don't have Zerglings or Banelings in this scenario, some of the nice tools that Terran normally has to worry about it when they're playing against Lurkers. There are no Infestors, just 2 or 3 Vipers that are gathering energy right now. The Lurkers have morphed. Oliveira's 1 tank rallying accidentally onto Creep. Pulls it back. Will it survive? Nope. Nice catch there for Solar. Wouldn't have minded him taking the sensor tower out as well. 2-2 upgrades on the way for both sides. Looks like it'll finish a little earlier for Oliveira. I don't think Solar can wait for his 2-2. I think he's got to go on the 3rd base right now. His Vipers should have energy, shouldn't they? Oh, did he just lose his Vipers? Whoa, did he just lose his Vipers? Because I see parasitic bombs, I see a drop in his main, and I see I see 2 Vipers being built. Dude, I think the double drop just killed the Vipers that were gathering energy in the main. That is a disaster. Solar needs those Vipers to Blinding Cloud the tanks so that his Lurker timing works. This sets him back about 2 whole minutes, which is massive. This is a game-changing catch for Oliveira. Solar has got to be so tilted. Notice he's starting a Baneling Nest. He knows his first timing is not going to work, so he's adding the next layer of tech. Now, I would argue it's more important to go infest a Broodlord first and then add the Baneling tech. Melee upgrade's also going to be more important than +3 range here. Solar might just try to play Lurker Lingbane or Hydra Lingbane Viper, but I feel like this is not as smart as playing a big round of Broodlords, because you know he's going to be heavy on the tanks. He has to be. Melee upgrade started up there. Oh man, these tanks are such a problem. He will at least bile. Oh, he misses the biles on the sensor towers. Unfortunate. So Solar's not dead, don't get me wrong, guys, but oh my god, no, Solar, not again! Solar! Okay, he pulls his Vipers back there, but Ghosts are gonna try and grab him. He does abduct only 1 Ghost, and then he gets double sniped! Oh my god. Only 1 Ghost goes down for 2 Vipers and a pack of those Lurkers. Just pulls the SCVs off mining. He'll shuffle a tank forward. The Roach Ravager achieving nothing on this side of the map. The tank Widowmine Ghost smashing it. And remember, Oliveira looked unstoppable. He played Maru-style Turtle on this map versus Reynor and withstood endless waves of assault. I don't know, man. I think Reynor is one of the best at assaulting and overwhelming players. Can Solar do it? I think if he goes Broodlords, yes. But if he keeps morphing Lurkers into a guy who's on mass tank Ghost, that is losing tech here. It is the wrong tech to play. And oh god, a very decisive push for Oliveira. But Oliveira loses 14 workers. Looks like he lost a lot of workers on the top while this was happening. Bit of a mistake for him. Oliveira's got to be patient. That top side base, we haven't seen it. There's Roach Ravager held position behind the mineral line. Or is it, maybe it's Lurkers actually. I think it's Lurkers. We still haven't seen it from the Observer. Sorry guys. I wish I could observe these games. Come on. Top base, please. There's still a Lurker up there killing the refinery. Please show it. Sorry guys. Yeah, okay. Okay, it was just roaches. It was just roaches. 2 roaches up there do go down, but they picked off quite a lot of SCVs just on hold position behind that mineral line. And here we go. Tank Bio Ghost moving forward. New Lurker comes in on the north side. Going to keep harassing that base. I like this move from Solar. It's going to keep Oliveira busy. He can deny the base in the bottom. Free command center. Just kill the command center and pull back. Nice move for Solar, but he's getting ghost punished. The snipes are big. Does kill the command center, but man, those snipes. Oh, you got to be careful. That's a lot of Hydras going down. 8 more SCVs do fall to the Lurker. He's going to put 1 Lurker down in that bottom base to make sure he doesn't get it. Mass Lingbane Lurker. Oh, I don't know, man. I feel like Solar has committed down a redundant tech path at this point. I said it earlier. Adding Lingbane to this is nice if the Terran's pushing you, but it's not that good for breaking them when they're this well set up. If you are ahead, you can swarm with Lingbane Hydra Viper, but like, he's got so much Lurker. He's got a bit too much Hydra, and it feels like he doesn't really have much momentum. I like this harass as well. I mean, he's doing good moves. The Nidus is a great idea, but the Broodlord wave has historically been the way to break the tanks and then swap back into the Hydra Lingbane Viper. I really feel that was the play here. With so many ghosts out, I would love 1 or 2 Burrowed Infestors just to try to catch those ghosts when they venture forward. Of course, that's pretty fancy. That's kind of the cherry on top of the cake. And right now, Solar's still trying to get the flower and eggs together. He's still trying to get this going. The Baneling's rolling on forward. He gets a tank and a few ghosts. He loses a lot of Zerg for it. I really wish we could see that Units Lost tab. This sort of game, all that really matters for the casting is the Units Lost tab. It tells you a very big story that you've got to track. Lingbane Hydra going over those ghosts. I mean, I'm just gonna estimate, guys. Right now, Oliveira's lost 15,000 resources so far this game. Solar's lost about 24,000. I'm literally making those numbers off just based off game sense. But that's a pretty good advantage for Oliveira. It's not game ending, but you can see in the banks that, of course, there is no extra money, and things like that are so efficient for Oliveira every time he snipes them. So, if they just press escape or stop selecting a unit, I think we see Units Lost in the bottom right side. But for now, not showing it. Lingbane moving around the south side. It's all one big mistake, and a Nidus getting in could turn this around. But after seeing how confident Oliveira's defense was against Reynor, it's hard to imagine this working. And look at that, the Liberator turret pushes the Nidus overseer away. He's getting Nidus on the top, but that's not the most useful thing at all. So this is actually just amazing play by Oliveira. He's so confident locking the map down. He's adding vehicle plating. I think he's already got +3 attack. The ghosts are, of course, just gathering energy and getting value over time. Lurker tried to pop out. 2 libs in a tank say, no way, mate. Ghosts need to get out of there. Ghosts getting stuck a little bit, but there's just not enough Zerg. And attacking into that row of tanks is appallingly bad. This is what I'm talking about, guys. If they're this well set up, I mean, look at that trade. Oliveira apparently killed some of his own units with tank splash damage, and that was the most damage that actually happened to the Terran in that fight. This is getting closer and closer to 2-1 in the Units Lost. It might end up getting close to 3-1 if Solar keeps trading like this. Solar's on 86 workers. He's got a good income, but oh, he's going for a big attack right now. He does find a few tanks unprotected. The Ghosts and the Bio were out of position. Finally, Solar finds some damage on that mineral line. Gets 3 or 4 siege tanks. Nicely done. Not able to capitalize by damaging the base too much, though. Oh, Orbital on the base down here. Lurkers are going to burrow in there. If they click on the turret, they could do pretty well. For now, he's just going to leave 1 Lurker there for the harass, realizing he doesn't want to let those units get picked off. Solar doing some clever movement, but these tanks, dude. These tanks wrapped around this cliff. He needs to get rid of these siege tanks, but finally, they're gone. Opening up that avenue on the 3rd, the Nidus goes down, but the Hydras take out the Liberators. Solar's in. Oliveira cracking under the pressure. Solar might be able to fight back. He can at least take Oliveira off the board if he wins this game. He knows he's already lost his life, but if he can take Oliveira's out in these 2 matches, that'd be massive. Solar does clear the third, gets rid of the second factory, but Solar's bank is not that big, and he's not able to instantly remax. The Nidus in the backside does go down. Overseer in the back of the main. He's going to pop a Nidus there as well. More Ling Bane Hydra. It's not a cost-efficient composition. Remember, Oliveira is blanketing mules on that bottom base. He's going to be able to replenish it. He's also got +3 Blue Flame Hellbats, which annihilate Zerglings. Overseer does get pushed to the back there. He's got some libs on the way as well. Another push on this exact same angle, but you've been hitting this same angle over and over. It's not going to work anymore, and the snipes massacre the Hydralisks. Yet another amazing battle. 2-to-1 cost efficiency for Oliveira. He is destroying the trades, and if he can just remax and put his static defense back on that third base, he'll be back rock solid, way ahead in this game, because Solar's running out of resources to mine. Solar at no point took the forward bases to mine from, which means his income will start dropping. He's almost at 4,000 minerals a minute right now. You can see at the bottom. That's going to drop very steadily over the next few minutes as his bases mine out. And at that point, you're going to see Oliveira on only half the income right now say, it doesn't matter. I've got way more minerals left on these bases. And look at that. Lurk is going down. Nidus does go down, but he's going to get some damage on the front. Solar's still creating chaos. Oliveira's supply looking kind of rough. As I said, he needs to re-cement the static on that northern third base. If he can't do that, Solar's going to keep trading there while getting damage done on the bottom with that Lurker harass from the high ground. Solar's now going to try and take a hatchery on the far top left of the map, right next to Oliveira's main base, a sneaky base. But he's got to try and mine from these. If he can't mine those resources out, which is very unlikely the longer the game goes, he'll be in big trouble. Lurker could take the siege tank out. Ghost come forward to save the day. Nice repair for Oliveira. And that Nidus Worm goes down as well. Solar, he's remaxed right now. Ling Bane Hydra Viper is the play. It's all about the mobility. It's all about cracking the defenses. But those +3 Blue Flame Hellbats are going to ruin his day. Oh no, he's going in. There's a lot of Hellbats spread down here. I don't think this works out for Solar. So many Hellbats this time. Those Lings will get toasted. That one Hellbat on the north is roasting the Lings as they go through the mineral line. The command center does fall though, and a clever pullback for Solar, but not before his Hydras all get sniped. That was a disastrous trade when it comes to the head-to-head cost once again. 2-to-1 cost efficiency seems to be the name of the game in all of these fights. And as your side of the map mines out, you need more than that. You need more. Because there's still these 2 fresh bases on the south side, Oliveira is happy to take those trades all day. The Infestors are out. I love that choice. One big fungal on the Ghosts will allow Solar to win this game. Look at the income in the bottom. Solar's now down from 3,900 to 3,400 minerals a minute, whereas Oliveira's income is climbing from 2k to 2.5k. So Oliveira's income's going up, Solar's is going down. He's got to get more damage. Banelings clear out the Hellbats, but there's still another Hellion in the back. The tank line holds firm, and those Vipers getting EMP'd, I believe, so they were not able to blinding cloud the tanks in the rear. Nidus on the south side goes down. There are tanks spread across this entire map. It is obvious that Broodlords are the answer, guys. I was shouting it in my whole cast of Reynor vs Oliveira, but when someone has more than 10 siege tanks, you are forced to play Broodlords. It is non-negotiable, and I think the Zergs will figure this out the more they play on this big maps where there's so many tanks required to cover all that distance. Big attack comes in for Solar, gets a lot of the Hellbats with the Banes. The Ling's getting in. Solar's doing it. He gets on the rally. So many tanks just died. The moment you crack through the front, the Lings become so good at picking up extra value. It's the start of the fight that's inefficient for the Zerg, but the moment you break the front line, that's where everything goes well for the Zerg. He's up 50 supply. Solar's income back up above 4k minerals a minute. I don't know how. I guess he's got that top left base mining. Oliveira needs a bit of harassment on that top left base. If he can get a single Liberator or something up there, that's going to be important. How is Solar at 4,400 minerals a minute? My God, Solar is mining the map out at a crazy rate. It is all tempo. He has no longevity in this game. He has to kill Oliveira very soon. If he doesn't kill him in the next 2 minutes, I don't think he has any chance to win. I think the 23-minute mark, if he hasn't severely hamstrung Oliveira and completely denied this base, I think he's dead. Solar is going to burn hard and burn fast. He's going to burn bright in this game, and he's going to change angles. He's going to come around the south side. He's attacking around a corner, though, with a pure Baneling army into mass siege tank. That ain't gonna work. Ooh, deadly. He just lost a lot of Banelings. That was way too many Banelings in the composition. As long as the army is spread this well, Banelings will never do it. And the Hellbat drop, great move for Oliveira, denying one of the bases of Solar's mining. If Oliveira can get this base landed and suck those minerals up and then eventually move the command center to the top base and take that off Solar, Solar is going to run out of resources. We haven't been seeing the units lost tab at all, but I guarantee you it's about 2.5 to 1 trading in the favor of Oliveira. The trading has been terrible for Solar in this game. One Infestor tries to sneak in. It does get sniped. Great scans there for Oliveira. He's not going to let that one go down. Nidus in the main. Ling Bane, Hydra, Viper coming in. One Blinding Cloud goes down before the EMPs land. The Ghost pulling back. The tanks in the orbital do go down. It's a lot of Banelings, though. It's a lot of Banelings. 11 SCVs in an orbital. The supply looks good for Solar, but the supply doesn't tell you the story of how many Banelings he just wasted. Banelings are a very supply-efficient unit, but they're cost-inefficient. And these trades aren't great for him. Trying to pop lurkers in the main doesn't quite find the value. The ghosts are still nearby. Here we go. As long as those tanks hold that center position, as long as his natural doesn't get broken and he keeps his production up, Oliveira is now mining the southern base. Lingbane Hydra still trying to come forward. Solar's income is still insane. 22.5 minutes into the game. He's got to get more damage done. He's going to try and go south. Remember, there's a lot of tanks further south here, though. As he goes deeper, there is an endless tank line. A few of the ghosts do go down to the Lingbane. The mineral line gets cleared as well. Ling's ran in the south. It looks like it killed even more SCVs. Fungal on the ghost, but he doesn't have any units to capitalize. He gets 3 fungals chained on the ghost, but all of his hydras went down, so he couldn't quite finish it. Nonetheless, Oliveira, it looks like his supply is so low and his income so low. Solar's going to be able to remax. I think 23 minutes. I might have called the resources too early, guys, as I don't have control of the cameras. I can't go and look at the minerals on these bays. Somehow, it feels like Solar's still got a lot of mineral patches on the minimap at this 23-minute mark, and even though he's mining at an alarming rate, he's still above 4k minerals a minute, which means his remax is scary, it is vicious, it is fast, does get 4 SCVs in a tank. That was a good trade for him. I do still think a Broodlord swap would be a game-winning move, but he doesn't have the gas for it. So you can't limp into Broodlord Infestor. That's one where you need to build like 5 Infestors, 8, 10 Broodlords all at once. He can never make that call because that would give up too much tempo and time to Oliveira. So I understand why Solar doesn't make that choice. He wants to win with this army. He's committed and it makes perfect sense. The question is, can he break him? He's going for it. Giant attack. Oh, the hell that's in between the command centers. Roasted like 40 Zerglings before the Banelings got to them. And those ghosts and tanks in the back line are trying to hold strong. The ghosts stutter stepping back. Oliveira fighting like a champion. There might just be too much Zerg on the dance floor, though. The tanks are starting to fall. This tank trying to micro back. He saves it with the medevac. Oliveira has a pack of ghosts, a siege tank, and a dream. He needs to repair the command center right now. He is repairing it. Okay, he's repairing it just from under Solar's camera. There were some SCVs. He's going to try and land that command center. He's still down in the army supply by 20, down 40 workers. Solar's income just dropped drastically, guys. 2 of his bases just mined out. Look at Solar's income. This is what I'm talking about. I misjudged a little, but he's dropping to 3k minerals, but he gets Oliveira's command centers. Solar coming in big, beautiful maneuvers. And I think Solar, after killing that command center, that really slows Oliveira down. Wait, Oliveira's base just to the north of here actually isn't mining. If Oliveira spreads his workers across that, he could have way more mining right now. Oh, Oliveira making a bit of a mistake, and that cheeky Infestor just waiting for the perfect moment to pop up and fungal those ghosts. But look at the methodical pre-spreading of Oliveira. That's what I love so much about his play. Not many workers mining on the base to the north of this. Just the gas and a few on minerals. Oliveira trying to survive right now. Fighting to survive. Here comes a big Lingbane attack. The Hellbats spread out, doing what they can, but Oliveira cannot hold on, and Solar. He says, Broodlords, you're an idiot, pig. I make Lingbane Hydra, and I make it work. The way he kept rotating the angles and after breaking through the north. Beautiful play by Solar there. Great capitalization upon that. And really well played. All right, guys. Well, Oliveira gets resurrected here. Kaizi Gaming is down to their last life. And they say, let's put our faith in the world champion as he traded lives with Solar. Which means Onsyde Gaming has to bring out a new player. And they're going to go with Neeb here. 2 lives remaining. So after Neeb, they can resurrect Solar or Maru. Oh, man. It's going to be a gate into gas here for Neeb. No early probe scout. He's just going to send it out now. Maybe check for an engineering bay block and just making sure there's no proxy inside his natural. Oliveira going for the barracks gas at home. And I'm very excited to see how this goes. You might think, well, world champion versus Neeb. Neeb's not full-time anymore. He's in university. Surely not that competitive a match. Well, Neeb beat Oliveira 2-1 at Katowice in the group stage. Some very competitive matches. And actually, if Oliveira dropped a single other map to one of the other players, like Clem, then he actually wouldn't have gone through, and Neeb would have gone through to the top 12 instead. Could have been a very different tournament at the World Champs. But yeah, Oliveira had those 2-0 wins versus Kira and Clem. I believe he 2-0'd both of those guys. His TVT was flawless. That's what got him through. I wonder as well, like, if Oliveira can win this, who would you guys resurrect? Solar? And play again? Or do you go for the TVT Grand Finals of the World Championship rematch? That would be so cool, man. Adept's coming on out. I'm sure it all comes down to the player's confidence. You know, Solar did win the second game, and he was way ahead in the first game, so maybe Solar is actually the more confident player. But I don't know, it felt like he barely won that second game. That was very close. I always feel like you'd be crazy to not put Maru out in a TVT, but Maru might be a bit shook after his match with Spirit, right? Going 1-1 with Spirit does not inspire confidence. Be interesting. Either way, I mean, that's getting ahead of ourselves. Neeb might just kill Oliveira and it's lights out. If Neeb kills Oliveira, Kaizi's out and Onsyde Gaming goes to the next round. Neeb coming forward with the Adept. He's going Stargate behind this. I do love a good Adept into Stargate opening. The Urubus quickly flutter away there. And oh, he does finish the command center and saves it. Pops it out into the main. Crisp, beautiful micro there by Oliveira. Widowmine's coming out, and the Marines looks like a pretty standard Widowmine drop opening. Not the best build up against this sort of play. However, his Reaper doesn't get in, but he does see it. He's building a tech lab. So I think he's going to go Cyclone anyway, which is, of course, what you want against the Oracle opening. Reaper comes in, but there's a third Adept here. Neeb shouldn't really be losing any probes. Unless Oliveira really tricks him. Oh, did that Widowmine just kill? Or did he shade away? No, the Adept goes in and dies to the Widowmine. Ooh, unfortunate mistake for Neeb. Oliveira is going to be very happy with that catch, and the Oracle will come across the map. But the Cyclone should be out in time to defend that, and the Marines will chase away that Adept. Oracle actually just hanging defensively. Looks like he wanted to clean the Reaper up, funnily enough. I think he just wants to limit Oliveira's map vision, but that means he's going to be very slow across the map, which means the Cyclone's out. Second Cyclone already on the way. Ooh, Neeb's going 3-gate, and it looks like a Marine drop coming in. Okay, nice revelation, but doesn't know about the medevac coming across the map. Phoenixes are building. A third base starts up, so it's 2 Phoenix, 3 gateways before third Nexus. Very safe play for Neeb. He shouldn't really be vulnerable to this sort of push. On paper, he should be fine. Oh, the medevac pickup was sick. Saves the Reaper. Unfortunately, does drop it and loses it, but it doesn't matter. He gets the Oracle, which is the big pickoff. The battery's not quite done yet. Oh gosh, the Phoenix a little slow to get down here. The shield battery's not ready. Neeb. Oh my god, what's he just picked up there? He's just picked up like a Widow Mine. Oh my god. I can't believe it. Oliveira. Neeb looks frustrated on his camera. How does Oliveira keep doing this? He did this to Hero as well. He'd just do this push that doesn't look like it should work and he'd just win the game. Oliveira's an absolute freak. I don't understand how he keeps winning TVPs like this. If you showed me that before, there's no way I thought that would work, but the Phoenix were in the main. And it feels like Neeb a little too slow to pull the Phoenix, and he should have just fallen back a little bit, but he fought a bit too far out front of his base. He loses 10 probes in a situation which he was perfectly prepared for on paper. All right, Marine down there in the third. That Cyclone's very fragile. Oh, it survives. Very nicely done. But time to run away for Olive. Big fan of Charles Oliveira. Going to back away there. Going to save a few of these Marines and then boost out with the red hit point medevac. So dangerous with the second Cyclone here. Oh, Phoenix try to click on the medevac. They don't quite get it. They both take damage. The Stalkers here hot on the chase. But the SCVs will no doubt get pulled to repair those Cyclones, those Liberators, and that medevac. And that is a beautiful trade in the early game for Oliveira. He's now going into the Stim, extra barracks, and +1 weapons. He's got 2 barracks or finished and 2 more in the way. Maybe he's already got 3 barracks finished, actually. So Oliveira looks like he's going to do a big 2-base all-in. And with the way the game started, it looks good for him. Neeb exhaling there, looking a little frustrated. This is not the way this game was meant to go. He's going +1 armor, Zealot Phoenix. Armor very useful on those Zealots. Help them survive a bit longer versus the Marines. Sentry on the way as well for Guardian Shield. But pure Marine is where it's at here for Oliveira. Now he's, yeah, like, he doesn't have extra add-ons on these last barracks, but I think Oliveira just senses that, oh, he's going to do a boy pool. Because Because he's not even stopping to build extra reactors. He's just getting as many Marines out as he can. 5 reacts, Marines, tanks. I think he pulls probably all the SCVs on the natural pretty much. Maybe he should go pretty soon. I think he moves out in about 15 seconds. I think 7 minutes and 5 seconds he moves out. And the SCVs will pull just after his army moves out. Neeb does not have any splash damage. I don't know how he stops this. He's going to need fantastic battery usage. Phoenix is picking off the reinforce. And just a lot of zealots. If Neeb doesn't build any more probes and nothing but zealots, he has a chance. But look at that. Even the Liberator setting up for the push. 7 minutes, 10 seconds. He's going to pull out. Here we go. The Marines coming forward with this. Cyclone's pushing back the Phoenix. The boy pull is here. Oh, those Phoenix. They're going to dart in behind, maybe get a siege tank if they're on point. But look, the Liberator's going to siege the main. There's just not that many zealots. Down about 20 army supply is Neeb. He doesn't have the army needed to defeat this force. Does waste a Cyclone lock on there, but oh, the Phoenix staying locked and the Liberator sieging the main as he arrives. Whoa, this is so impossible for Neeb to deal with. He's got to respond to that while trying to flank this army with zealots from 3 sides. But there's just too much terror, and that ball of Marines doesn't even need to stutter step. He can just A-move it. The tanks blasting the Stalkers. Great focus fire to make sure he doesn't friendly fire. And what a brilliant opening for Oliveira. Neeb, though, did maybe slip up a little bit unexpectedly. Oliveira actually looks stressed there. I think he realizes he got one over his opponent there. Got a bit lucky. All right, guys, going into the next map. Neeb's in the bottom left, representing Onsyde. He's already lost his life, but if he can take Oliveira's life, then Onsyde still win. So if Neeb wins this map, Oliveira's, like, Kaizi Gaming's still dead. Remember, this is his last life. Because Onsyde have 2 lives left, and Neeb only has, Kaizi Gaming only have 1. So remember, you always play 2 maps no matter what, each match. Just to reiterate that rule set, guys, Oliveira needs to 2-0, and then whoever he plays next in the final match, he needs to take at least 1 map. If he goes 1-1 in the final match, they both kill each other, they both eliminate each other, and then you get the single best of 1 ace map. Of course, if Oliveira can 2-0 a match after 2-0ing this, then he can win it for Kaizi. But there is a lot of pressure on Oliveira to win right now. And Neeb, on the other hand, it's like, hey, dude, just sneak a map. It's kind of a shame he gave away the position in that last one, but he does scout a double gas build. He's going Nexus before Core himself. So a little bit of a greedier build from Neeb. Now, I wonder if he recalls the probe, or does he? No, he doesn't need to. He's not even walled in. What am I talking about? He can just run away at any moment now. Obviously, Neeb will be watching this because a Marine should pop no later than 1 minute 50, whereas the Reaper pops closer to 2 minutes. So good harassment for him, but he needs to get out of there. Sees the factories at home. He knows a Reaper's going to pop very soon. Could pop as soon as 1:58 is the perfect Reaper timing. This Reaper's actually kind of slow. That's a 2:01 Reaper for Oliveira, so maybe his SCV popped out on the wrong side of the depot, or he was slightly late on something. Reaper will come across the map, but Neeb shouldn't lose any probes, even though he's gone Nexus before Cybercore. Ancient Cistern is a big map. Probe's going to try to get home. Oh no, he's just going to hide down the bottom. Wait till the Reaper's gone maybe before he brings it home, or use it to proxy something later. Adept's coming out. Sentry to follow it up. Oh, so he's going to go Hallucinate Scout into Blink is what it seems like. Haven't seen a lot of Blink openings lately. Blink really seems to be suffering on this map pool. Probe's going to go back across the map to try and see what's happening. It is Reacted Reaper Hellion coming out. Oh, okay. Sees the extra gateway in the Twilight Council. Good scout there for Oliveira. Sees the Sentry as well, so he knows exactly what he's up against. Sentry doesn't do a lot of damage, so it's not too good at stopping the Reaper Hellion pressure. But the Probe's going to come in. Oh, he builds a pylon. Proxy pylon. 3-gate as well. Wow. I mean, yeah, that's pretty early 3-gate. But since it's been scouted, because the extra gateway got scouted, I don't know. I'm curious how much Neeb wants to commit to this pressure. More Reapers and Hellions are being pumped. I mean, if Oliveira dives the Reaper Hellion and throws it away, then you can counterattack really hard by warping 3 Stalkers on the other side of the map. That could be very effective. He's going to come in right now. That Sentry is looking very exposed. He does pull it back. Nice micro by Neeb, but he's got to be careful of that Hellion Splash. 1 probe does pull into fight. The Adept pulling back, pulling a few probes in. You're going to be careful of the Hellion Splash, dude. You do not want those units to be so clumped up. Sentry goes down. Adept's going to go down as well. Another Stalker will come down, but look at that. Hellion's barely surviving. And Neeb really would love to warp in Stalkers on the other side of the map, I think. And it looks like he will. 3 Stalkers warping in. But the Reaper Alien didn't quite throw itself away. And there's more rallying on the front. He could overwhelm these Stalkers, guys. He could absolutely overwhelm these Stalkers. Oliveira, a little slow to micro, but he does. Those Red Point Aliens come in. One of them goes down. The other one gets back. Nice micro. The Reaper goes down, but that Stalker's in big trubs right now. Oh, this is really good for Oliveira, catching these Stalkers. Back at home, the Stalkers are counterattacking, though. Neeb's got to get some big damage done. Does the Reaper Alien come home? SCVs with a bit of a surround. The Stalker's going to start a step as best they can. Only gets 2 SCVs and a bit of mining time. More Stalkers are being warped in at home. Good choice. But that was by... Yeah, okay. Neeb's going to go for a 3rd Nexus. He was hiding a probe behind his 3rd. He doesn't really have any tech up, remember. He didn't cancel his Twilight, did he? Oh! Did he cancel the Twilight and build a 3rd gateway? Or was it a 3rd gate from the beginning? Man, my observing is really bad here. This is what happens when I'm watching someone else's camera and I don't catch it when they show it. I'm like, I like to go back and double check things, but... the shield battery saves the day there. The Reapers will go down, so he's going to get only 1 or 2 probes. And Stalkers, yeah, 2 probes go down. Oliveira did take some SCV losses, but he's building Banshee Tank Marine, and the lack of tech for Neeb mean he's stuck on unupgraded gateway units for quite a while. Unupgraded gateway units are the absolute garbage, guys. They are the absolute garbage of the Protoss arsenal. They are not good units at all. He's going to try and go up into a Robo Bay here, is Neeb. And, you know, I do feel like Neeb's far enough ahead in workers, he could make this work. I don't think there's any cloak. I think it's just cloakless Banshees that are going to harass. And it feels like Oliveira is very committed to a big Marine tank Banshee push. He's going to move out now. Banshee goes in. Stalker's warping in at home. And the Banshee has to back away. Already taking a lot of damage. Very good situation for Neeb. Oh, those Stalkers! He does get a tank at least, but he loses a few Stalkers on the front. Remember, he doesn't have Blink as well, but there's no stim, so he doesn't really need Blink right now. He can just stutter step those Stalkers as much as he wants. The Banshee goes down as well, but is there a battery on the 3rd? Looks like it only just started. It won't be ready for 30 seconds. There's an Immortal Chrono boosting right now. More Stalkers are making, but I don't think there's a battery on the natural either. And if this push goes straight to the natural, that could cause him trouble. Stalker Sentry, observe it, marching on forwards. Pull back, Neeb. You don't want to take that tank shot, mate, but he does take a bit too long to pull back. And the tank shot does severely hurt him. Bunker's going to be going up here. Oh, he's going to try and flank with the Stalkers. Always a good call to cut off the reinforce where possible. Battery is now up. We'll see if he can use that overcharge to maybe tank the first volley on the front. But the Stalkers aren't quite intercepting reinforcements right now. His Stalker run by, it's on the wrong path. The units are rotating through the north of the map. They're reinforcing freely. Oliveira reinforcing on a different path to what Neeb expected. That 3rd base is having to be healed. The battery overcharge does come in, but oh, you cannot stand in that tank fire, mate. You cannot stand in that tank fire. Neeb fumbling a little bit. His units are stumbling into the tank fire. The Colossus is just not here. The Marines and the SCVs being a big bomb. This is a desperate push from Oliveira, but a disjointed counterattack comes in here for Neeb. He comes in with the flank from behind, gets 1 siege tank. The Immortal and the Stalkers take out another tank, but he doesn't quite connect with the Immortal attack, and the SCV repair plus the Banshee damage is good. That was a great push from Oliveira. A little bit desperate and down and dirty in these PVTs, but it looks like it's good enough to get rid of the 3rd, which should be a game-securing victory there. Oh, Colossus ruining his Marines. He's got to be careful. On the other hand, the Banshee's causing big issues. Remember, no battery was ever built on this natural. SCV's going down. Stalkers try to take out the Banshees, but the Banshees get the Colossus. And even though 1 Banshee falls, they are now getting repaired on up. Stalker's still warping in. And what an awkward position to be in for both sides. Oliveira is only now starting stim and shields. Neeb floating money, though, because he can't even produce charge lots or anything like that. No Twilight Council on the field. Probes are being pulled to clean this push up, and he will clean it up, but not before the Colossus goes down and so many probes fall. Stalker will take out that Banshee, but 2 siege tanks and a Marine still just chilling. Still causing terrible situations here for Neeb. He tries to reboot his 3rd in the face of this. 45 probes versus 48 SCVs. Unupgraded Stalkers are just trash units in this scenario. 2 tanks and 1 Marine are ruining him. Neeb has never felt more impotent in his life. And look at that, they just unsiege and walk home. He's got no mobility abilities. He's going to try and shade a depths after them to catch them. But it really does feel like a very flaccid position for the Protoss to be in. Marines and tanks here trying to gather up in the middle. Remember, this was an incredibly committed push for Oliveira. I do think if Neeb cut off the reinforcements with his Stalkers earlier, this would be a very different game. But maybe just not knowing where the push path is on this new map, not realizing Terran can actually rally to the far north rather than through the center. It is one of the issues I've had on Ancient Cistern as well, is not realizing exactly which pathing the enemy units will take and being surprised by their push. But Oliveira, if he gets the 2-0, he gets to force out the revival of his opponent's team. That would be very brilliant for him. Remember, he has already been revived himself after losing that life to Solar. And Neeb's going to tap out Oliveira with a little bit of a fist bump, but you can tell the pressure's on him. It's a lot of weight on his shoulders. He's 2-0 Neeb, but now he's going to be in another match. And this man is running out of lives. All right, well, down to the last lives. This man has already been revived, took out Neeb 2-0 to keep his team in it. And it is Oliveira. His opponents, it was obviously a choice between Maru and Solar to see who they revived, and they have opted for Solar. As I was talking about earlier, it's like, hey, which player do we think they'll revive if they get there? A lot of people would have just said, come on, just go for Maru. But the funny thing is, I find with Maru and Rogue, those guys who are such tournament-winning players, Solar once again going for the very quick drink of water before he gets the hatchery down. I love that maneuver. I know Maru and Rogue in team leagues have always been kind of like not the highest performers. I know like Reynor and a few other guys have usually been very high performers historically, but it's like the Maru and Rogues who, like, I know in WTL when those guys were on people's teams, people be like, oh yeah, you want to go out for the ace match? And they'd be like, oh nah, put out like, you should put out Leenock instead of me. Like, and you're just like, Maru, what are you talking about? You're so much better than Leenock. And he's like, nah, I'm just not feeling that confident today. I was like, I don't know if it's just because they don't care about team leagues as much, but historically, like Maru and Rogue, these are the guys who don't play many online tournaments, and they're just like, yeah, I'm not that confident. Yeah, haven't prepared builds for this specific opponent over the last week thinking about my GSL match, so yeah. Solar, on the other hand, I think is rock solid and super confident. And I think he actually wants to show he can 2-0 Oliveira. Keep in mind, if either of these guys 2-0, they win. If it goes 1-1, then we go to the ace match revival, which cannot be the same players that already got revived, which basically has to be Maru Reynor. So personally hoping they go 1-1 just so we get the Maru Reynor best of one. The Maru Reynor best of one is what everyone would like to see. And that'd be bloody exciting. They went 1-1 before as well, so we'll see if they do it again. As you can see at the very top, those little circles next to the teams, Kaizi Gaming's life on the left, Onsyde's on the right. They are both on 1 life remaining. Reaper coming into the main base. Drone quickly dodges the grenades so that he can't confirm the kill. And the Zerglings rotate in to defend it behind this. Looks like it'll be a third command center opening for Oliveira. Very solid on the economic start. Six Zerglings. A little unnecessary. But Solar, every time he builds 4 Zerglings, he loses a drone. It's completely unnecessary, but I swear he's doing it just to prove a point because I harassed him so many times about how you don't need to ever build 6-lings unless you're on a tiny map like Beckett Industries. And he was like, no, you need 6-lings, otherwise you lose units. And I was like, who cares? Have an extra drone, do a spore crawler trick, that's fine. Lose 1 Zergling and have an extra drone. I will trade a Zergling to have an extra drone any day. And he's like, no, it's bad. And now every time when he does try it, he loses a drone. And I'm like, you're throwing drones away to prove a point, aren't you, Solar? I know you are. There's no reason why you should lose drones every time you do it. And then when he plays 6-lings, he's like, see, I don't lose any units. 6-lings is the way to go. And I'm like, you're wrong. Big fan of Solar, though. Looks like we might see a Raven opening for Oliveira. Raven opening not used as much as we thought it would this balance patch. I really thought we'd see the Raven for creep clearing way more than we have. But more often than not, it's just the Banshee. And there we go, Banshee on the way. Royal Blood, we haven't seen too much battle mech on it. I think because there's a lot of, I guess there's a few choke points and ramps that are a bit easier for the Zerg to defend against Cyclone, Hellion, Banshee. But for now, it is just Hellions, Reapers at the front. More Hellions on the way. And a Tech Lab building on that barracks. Third command center is finished. Solar's already up to 44 workers at 4 minutes 15, which means he's got about, a bunch of workers already rallying over to that third base. 2 base is only 35 workers, of course. 32 workers on minerals, 3 on gas. So he's already up to 13, soon to be full saturation on the third by 4 minutes 30. That's very crisp play by Solar. But has he been a little greedy on the Zergling count? 8 Zerglings do queue up, so looks like he realizes, yep, if the Hellions dive, I might be in trouble. I'll build some extra Zerglings to stay safe. Hellions happy to fight 6v1 on a queen, but as the other queens come out, they do back off. Now, of course, Solar's just built 2 Evos, a Spore, a Gas, so his worker count slows down a lot here. It's the nature of Zerg, you know, you hit that worker count really hard and then it slows down a bit as you build all those buildings. And the lava injects are cyclical, so it's big explosions of drones every 30 seconds. He's going to go for a Ling run by, and the double Evo is exceptionally quick, by the way. So Solar clearly wants to play a super greedy style. I think he has a very good read on how Oliveira is going to play this game. Oliveira not going to be doing anything too spicy, playing very standard. I think Solar having that read means he can take the advantage in this game. I still do think the Lair needs to hurry up. Second and third gas are mining now, so Solar needs to go Lair, then Baneling Nest like right now, because any more delays on that and Bane speed is going to be super duper late. Lair does start up, Baneling Nest goes down. Yeah, there's a window when Stim and 1-1 finishes where you don't actually have Baneling speed, and that's where Oliveira's best chance of doing big damage is. But because he's committed to so many Hellions and Banshees, that timing is going to be very narrow. Whereas if you go into the Stim, the upgrade's faster, you only build a few Hellions, maybe 1 Viking, you're going to, of course, hit that much earlier. Did he go Cloak, guys? I don't know if he went Cloak or not. I feel like he skipped it, which means he's going to keep those Banshees alive, more to defend, and probably go for an 8 racks follow-up. I see 5 barracks in the production tab. Ooh-wee. That's right. It's the innovation build. He's going to do an 8 racks, guys. Solar needs to start Baneling speed the second that layer finishes. And the 1-1 being fast is good, but I actually think he should go for a Ling backstab when Oliveira pushes out with the Marines. Problem is the Hellions are always guarding against that. Pros are so good at guarding against the Ling backstab these days. Oliveira, I remember he mentioned, he actually even messed that up on Game 2 on Dragon Scales versus Reynor in Katowice. And he was really annoyed at himself for that because he practiced to block the Ling run by, and he messed up with his Hellion positioning and took damage anyway. You can see the Ling's trying to come in. He's trying to deny scouting. So many Marines in production and tanks building one at a time. He does build a 5th gas geyser, but this is a massive amount of Marines coming. No add-ons on the extra barracks, guys. It is just 12 Marines at a time. Baneling speed is almost halfway done. I think Solar's going to get there in time. He starts 2-2 already as well, which really puts Oliveira on a timer. If you get 2-2 out, that's going to turn things upside down. Now, I still feel against these 8-rack styles, the best thing to do is to do a lot of backstabs. And that push is going to move out sometime in the next 30 seconds. It's going to be coming across that map because 1-1's finished. Shields is almost done. He's been clearing up creep to slow down that creep. And the question is, what path does Oliveira go? Does he go straight up the middle towards the natural? Or does he focus on one of these bases? Looks like he's going down the left side. He's decided that left side avenue is going to be his best shot. And look at where Solar's 5th is. It's on the high ground here, which means his 3rd and his 5th base are both going to be exposed to this push. I think Solar's going to need to cancel that 5th base and take it on the far right, because I think you cannot fight in this choke point unless you have a sick flank. Solar's going for a backstab down the right side of the map. Here comes the push. Lots of Hellions up front, Marines as well. The armory's not quite done, so those Hellions cannot morph into Hellbats just yet. Massive Ling backstab, but remember, the double Banshee is always able to defend that quite efficiently. The Queen's starting to go down. The Lings are killing some SCVs, but I think he ran the SCVs onto the gas quick enough. 10 SCVs go down. In the picture-in-picture, the Lings have been pushed back. Oliveira is okay with losing 10 SCVs. He's massively committed to this push. Yes, he has a 4th command center, but he's all about this army here doing what it needs to do. And it looks like he's sending some Marines and Hellbats back. He wants to deal with that Zergling flank to make sure his tanks don't get exposed. Here we go. If he can reinforce his army, Solar's going to be in big trouble. And remember, Solar did cancel that 5th base, but he hasn't retaken a base on the right side, which is an issue. Those tanks are so deep, and good choice to evacuate the base for Solar, but he's already taken massive losses. 3-1 trades there. He's lost 5,000 resources for 1,700. The Ling Bane gathering up 2-2 should be getting close, but I think he needs to buy another 30 seconds, and that is time, which Oliveira is not going to give Solar here. Solar is still up 16 workers, but he's only mining on 3 bases. That new 4th on the right is building very late. Hive is nowhere near, and look at the pre-spread from Oliveira. His pre-spread is beautiful. In an age where so many players clump their Marines, Oliveira is all about the pre-spread, and I am so impressed. He's so bloody hype. It's amazing because that's something I've always told people you shouldn't clump up. Only pro gamers can pull that off. But Oliveira apparently takes a note out of the low-level advice playbook, and he just says, keep the pre-spread, and that way you're always prepared. It always becomes bad trades for the Banelings. He's so bloody good. All right, guys, we're going onto Altitude. This is a map. I think Oliveira always vetoes Ancient Cistern versus Zerg. Rather than Altitude, I think it's a terrible call. I really feel like Cistern is a much better map for Terran than Altitude. But who knows? Maybe he plays Battle Mech and pulls it out. I mean, we saw him make a crazy comeback versus Solar before. Does Solar go for the Roach play again? If Oliveira gets the 2-0, he wins this. Whereas if Solar wins this map, it's going to force the Maru versus Reynor ace match. A match which, let's be real, guys, Reynor has always been favored versus Maru in the early mid game and has always looked like just almost, I don't want to say impotent, but yeah, I want to say impotent. Reynor looks impotent at finishing Maru past the 15-minute mark. Like, he just cannot scratch him at all. Maru looks like he's in a different league of StarCraft to Reynor if he gets past the 15-minute mark. So that's always an exciting match because it's like, no matter how far ahead Reynor gets in the early and mid game, there's always the chance of that happening. So I personally would like to see Solar win this map. I also do feel it's very, very Zerg favored. But we'll see how we go. Bullia says it's Solar's map pick here, though. Don't they have vetoes, though? Surely they have vetoes, right? Don't they have like a single vetoes, I believe? I don't know. Is this tournament live? If you guys do tune into my best game stream, we always find some of the best series, most exciting games. We cast them every Saturday my time. That's, of course, afternoon, evening, North America and Europe on Friday the day before, since datelines exist. Make sure you guys drop by. None of these games are ever cast live because we already vet them to make sure they're fun and back and forth and exciting series before they get onto the best game stream. A lot of people ask that every week, and I always like to give that explanation. You guys should drop by and check it out. Twitch.tv/x5_pig if you're only a YouTube viewer. And hey, check out the Patreon down below. While we're doing shout-outs, let's pimp out everything. Check out the Patreon. Check out my OnlyFans. Anyways, Reaper's going to come on into the base here. Going to start hitting these Zerglings and bouncing around. Oh, Zerglings pull to the right on creep, and the Reaper says, okay, I'll go after the drone on the natural. But nice and conservative play by Oliveira. Doesn't go too deep. And because there's a ramp here, it's pretty easy to get that creep tumor down immediately for Solar. Third command center on the way for Oliveira once again. I would love to see the Roach play because it's pro players always expect their opponent to adapt and adjust correctly. And so they usually switch it up. Like Solar might play Mutas this game, right? And Mutas would be great against, say, Oliveira goes straight into Siege Tanks, which is better versus Roaches. That's worse versus Mutalisks, especially on such a big map. So it'd be really cool to see that change. But for me personally, I always want to see, like, hey, if Solar does the exact same Roach bust and Oliveira, like how does Oliveira adjust, you know, and does it actually work? Does it stop? Can we learn the correct response from a pro gamer playing against the same thing twice in a row and changing that response? I actually used to do a show many years ago called What If Wednesdays where we did that. But it was funny. I really needed to be... Like, the pro gamers would always be like, oh, but they know that I'm switching. And, like, the whole rule was, like, the player that won the game, we'd resume from replay. And they had to keep playing so the other player could show the improved response. And then they would win. And then we'd kind of go back and forth and show all these different responses. And it was kind of funny trying to force the pro gamers to, like, lose games. Because they're like, I don't want to lose. I'm like, you're getting paid the same money either way. Follow the rules, pro gamers. Let us learn these responses from watching you guys solve things on the fly. Anyway, it looks like Cloak Banshee this time around. Okay. I've never been that big a fan of Cloak Banshee play, but the pro players have been so consistent with it lately they can be very effective, and especially if you're planning to then maybe build Banshee speed and play some Mechios, that could be very effective. Overlord sees the Cloak. Could be a fake though, you never know. Or could cancel it once the Overlord sees it. I personally like the cancel on the Cloak once they've seen it, because any self-respecting Zerg player is going to make a quick lair and a Spore Queller on each base either way. Ten more drones are building for Solar. He doesn't have anywhere near the crazy work account from the previous game, but still is looking reasonably healthy. I don't know if the Baneling nest went down yet. Solar is not going to be able to use that fast lair to make Bane speed unless the Baneley Nest actually starts up. There we go. Going up to 4 gases as well is Solar. I actually think a 4-gas mass Zergling Baneling style could really excel on this map as well. Stop on 60 drones right here, make nothing but a massling Bane while taking a 4th base, a 5th base, a couple macro crashes. Whoa! Hellion dive for Oliveira! Oh, he only loses 1 Hellion and does pull back. I think that was a good call. I think there was enough Zerglings that he would have got past them and killed some drones, but with the Queens closing in behind, 18 more Lings in production, he was going to lose all of the Hellions for a questionable amount of damage. Instead, gets a bit of panic, and that opens up the opportunity, so he kills 3 drones. Banshee's denying the 4th base from going down. I do feel like Solar's a bit slow getting his 4th base up. Solar still droning pretty hard here. Banshee's going to try and fight that Queen in the main, but she's got transfused Band-Aids coming up behind her. 3rd command center is down for Oliveira. He is indeed playing Marine Tank, but it's up against Ling Bane this time, not Roaches. Do we see a Spire for Solar? He better drop it pretty soon if he's planning to play Mutas. This is a pretty good map for Mutalisks, but he might just go for the Ling Bane Hydra. That's pretty solid as well. Banshee's trying to move around. Carapace is on the way as well as Melee. Gas going up on that 5th one. That's 5 barracks right there. I think we're going to see 2nd factory, 4th command center for Oliveira, but I would like to see Oliveira get a reactor on the factory. I think he's building it right now. I think he just went 2 tanks for safety. No, 3rd tank starts up. Okay. Alrighty then. Well, Solar's up 10 workers. Solar's going Hydras. Solar's creep spread starting to move out across that map. His 4th base was a little late, but Solar's just mixing Lings and Banes right now. Some Lings, some Banes, some drones. Some Lings, some Banes, some drones. And that's a good way to play it. I think this is pretty solid. Armory goes down now for Oliveira. 1-1 upgrades are about even for both sides. I think Oliveira's might be about 20 seconds ahead. Kind of hard to see. This feed is not crystal clear. It's pretty good. But, oh! Okay. Good hot pickup. Oliveira only loses 2 Marines. Hellion run by. But once again, quick pull, quick response from Solar. He's done a pretty good job. If he could surround those Hellions, that would be very good for him. Just get those off the map. 2nd factory goes down at that 3rd base. You can see the 1-1 upgrades. Yeah, they are about 30 seconds ahead for him. Still no 4th command center. It's almost 8 minutes, which means Solar can get up into the 85, 90 worker count. He's just going to be way ahead on the income as this game goes forward. Marine's still slowing the creep down on both sides. Now, there's a lot of spread on this map. It's like the bases are spread across such a wide front. It really is a map control and multitasking war. And I think Widow Mines are excellent for taking control. I think siege tanks are appallingly bad on this map. I mean, there's some good areas in the middle, but you can't really threaten into their base. Like, there's a few ridges that are okay, but it's so flankable. He's going to go for one big push. Oliveira shoving the right side of the map. Banshee's trying to deny the 5th on the left. Solar, if he goes for a big backstab, all sets up the flank. Could get a good fight. Oliveira up 6 army supply right now. Hellbat Marine tank spready coming on forwards. There is already Lingbane set up on the left, but that is not the perfect flanking angle. It's an okay flanking angle, but not the perfect one. Banshee's going down for Oliveira. Solar cancels the base. Don't think he actually needed to there. And he gives up this base here. Solar back to 3 bases. That is actually really good for Oliveira. Oliveira can probably just go home. I wouldn't mind him splitting some Marines off and clearing the creep on the right side just for the future as well. And that 4th command center almost finished for Oliveira. Double tank mass Marine production for him right now. And even without the reactor factory, without the Widow Mines building, seems like he's taking this to a pretty good position. Solar getting a little bit defensive, a little bit static. I mean, I prefer surviving to taking a bad fight and potentially losing the game, but it does feel to me like Solar's given Oliveira a free pass into the late game now. Double Marine pickup, going to boost off that right side, but Solar already moves his Ling off the watchtower. He's going to see that 4th command center is now up and morphing into a planetary. Solar's just got to do a good job spreading creep, and that's incredibly APM intensive on this map. This map, it takes so much APM because you got to go across like 7 screens to spread creep everywhere. It's not like a lot of other maps where it'll be 4 or 5 screens. Okay, double drop in the main base. Here we go. He's going to go right into that mineral line. Meanwhile, snaking around the left. Oh, he's going to get sieged up in a killer position. Oliveira getting damage done in the main and a killer position on the left. But he doesn't save the Marines in the main, which is a little unfortunate. His tanks are also a little clumped up, which could get punished. Oh, he's got to engage. He's got to engage and defend the tanks. He pulls a little bit far back there, does Oliveira. Despite that, a good trade for him. The Banelings turn around and don't quite get the red hit point tank. Oliveira looking large and in charge. He wants that 2-0 to win the entire tournament. Not the entire tournament, but the entire Team League match. Dude, think about how many players Oliveira has been destroying. If he gets this 2-0, then Solar and Onsyde Gaming are out of the tournament. That is massive. Knocked back to 3 bases again. Solar does have the 4th rebuilt on the right side, so he saves his drones and transfers them. But the units lost tab is so good for Oliveira, no doubt. And he's got so many more command centers on the way. 3-3, +2 vehicle weapons, double tank, double lib, mass marine. He is way ahead. But it's a giant map, and this does give Solar time to lick his wounds and rebuild an army. He's got good creep spread on the right side. He's done a really good job with that, so he could slow this siege down. He should move forward here. Great move forward for Solar. He's going to jump on it. Solar goes for it. He dives. He commits it. Oh, Oliveira with a huge misclick. He misclicked his Marines forwards into the Banelings, and the tanks weren't quite siege. Solar ambushes the army, an unexpected engagement. And Oliveira both caught off guard and panicked, clicked his units forward. You could see the Marines walk into the Banelings. That was a massive mistake for Oliveira, and suddenly we're back at even supplies. And it is a situation where it's like, dude, you were so close to winning, but oh man, is the People's Champion Oliveira gonna choke up a little bit under pressure? He still looks very focused over there. But, of course, fatigue could be setting in. Remember, he played Solar, he beat Neeb, now he's playing Solar again. Finishing off Solar is one of the hardest things to do. Even Maru often gets way ahead versus Solar, can't quite finish him. Solar hits Hive Tech, and it's like a switch gets flicked, and he's just suddenly winning the game. Solar is so good at just hanging on, weathering the storm, and when Hive Tech kicks in, he's like, time to get F D-bag. He will just rush in with lurkers, overwhelm you, start sending Ling Bane in from all sides. Solar is an absolute beast at surviving, and whilst he's still down on supply, he is at Hive Tech. Lurker Den's done, upgrades are starting for it, +3 carapace as well as range upgrades. Marine tank moving down that right side. This, of course, was played just last weekend after the World Championship. It is the WTL playoffs bracket. Tanks and Marines shoving down the right side. Ling Bane coming forwards, but he's got a good spread. He does. Oliveira, and if he can get rid of this base, Solar's going to be mad. Solar wants this base. He cleans up the libs. Double lib in the top left gets cleaned up. Marines going for the hatch click, but not quite able to get it. Ooh, it's so close, so close. The Ling Bane getting baited in. Those lurkers are going to make it punishing if he wants to confirm the kill on that hatchery. There's a Nidus Worm up behind this. Oliveira's been so aggressive for so long. He may not be looking out for that Nidus Worm. Nice abduct. 1 siege tank goes down. And with the lurkers here, Solar hanging on to this base. He's got up to 5 bases. 6th base in the top left going up. Double drops going down the left side. Hatchery on the right goes down. Back to 4 bases. Up against a 5-base Terran. That's very good for Oliveira. He's also got a Ghost Transition underway behind this. Double drop in the top right does get intercepted. Oliveira quickly stops the drop and does decide to pick those units up though. Rando tank! Rando Calrissian, the siege tank, stumbling down the left side. He's like, well, the GPS coordinates say this is the way to go. Oh, man. And that is why, guys, if you get questionable orders, you're meant to question them. That's why they're called questionable. Make sure your superior officer means to tell you to march into the enemy base going, hi guys! Rando does die because of it. It's only 1 tank. It's not the end of the world. Extra command center's 3rd factory on the way. I like that there's a 3rd factory. Getting a factory and a reactor will allow Oliveira to build Hellbats and Widow Mines. We've got a quad drop. 4 medevacs worth of Marines, guys. 4 times 8 is 32. Quick maths. 32 Marines and 4 medevacs. Technically, the medevacs weren't quite full, so more like 30 or 29 Marines, but we'll see how it goes. Viperling Bane going down the right side. Here we go. Planetary is going to get taken out real easy. Solar finds himself a snatch. Is he going to get punished, though? Oliveira goes into the main. Quad drop could get the Hive, which would be massive. He's going to get there, but the Nidus... Oh, both players swinging for the fences. The Hive's going to go down. The spawning pool's going to get sniped as well the Lurker. But he catches a massive Marines on the left with the Banelings. Nice move by Solar. And the Ghosts of the Rally are here. But the Lurkers are already out. A lot of tech going down, though. I think the Infestation Pit went down as well there. My God, the Marines smashing in the main base. But the Banelings will get on top of that. And you can see the supply dropping Parasitic Bomb. Baneling deals with a drop in the main. The Lurker's inside Oliveira's main. A clutch call by Solar to commit to that. He just got a bunch of SCVs. And yes, the Nidus Worm goes down, but he did counter swing, and that really stopped Oliveira from getting into as good of a position as he could have off that. Remember, Oliveira lost the bottom right side as well. I like the way he was patient with those drops and waited for Solar to move across the map. A lot of Zergs would have been triggered out of the game if that drop gets all of their tech. But the spawning pool's been rebuilt. Solar's got good supply. Tries to go forwards. Big spready of tanks, turrets, sensor towers. Nidus Worm goes up on the left side of the map as well. Once again, I would love to see Broodlords. People will laugh at me and say, come on, Pig, you know Broodlords suck on such a big map. But once again, I mean, we don't see the units tab. I'd guess there's about 12 siege tanks on this map. And he has stopped building them for now, has Oliveira, but he's always on like 10, 15 siege tanks, somewhere in that range. It's a crazy amount of siege tanks, and you're consistently only getting 1 or 2 blinding clouds off before your Vipers get EMP'd and sniped. He's just too good with his ghosts. I do think if you just go 1 round of Broodlords, maybe 5 minutes from now, not just yet, but 5 minutes from now, like prepare the tech for it, I think Solar can smash. Solar, remember, was dead. He lost his 4th, guys. Then he lost his other 4th. He was so far behind in supply, but that one ambush has got him back in this game. Solar's up in supply. He's up in bank. And Oliveira is still not finished maxing out. Oliveira needs to build a few more ghosts, I believe, but on this gigantic map, Turtle, Static, Terran, it's going to be worse than ever. Remember, Solar managed to break him with Hydra, Lingbane, Viper on Gressven. This map's even harder than Gressven to hang on to those bases. What is a Doom Drop? Great question. It's a drop where you have a silly number of units in a drop. It's a really stupid name. Anyway, Hydra Baneling coming on in. The tanks will go down. Baneling's on the planetary. Oh, those Banelings get the planetary and 15 SCVs. Brilliant maneuver there for Solar. That one paid off big time. That was super efficient. That sort of move you want to do over and over again. He might rotate to the far left, try and blow up that side, and then go up the guts would be the good follow-up. But he's in sensor tower vision in the middle of the map right now. Those Zerglings do get spotted. Planetaries and tanks all across the ridges here. Transformation servos, building armor, high-sec auto tracking, and vehicle plating coming in now that Blue Flame and +3 vehicle weapons are done. Lingbane Hydra coming forwards on the right side. I think the sensor tower does see it, so he should be able to get over here. Abducts on the libs, blinding clouds on the tanks. Great moves by Solar. Baneling's looking for the ghost, but he's got to turn around, and he turns around at the perfect time. Solar was overextending on Gressven, kept getting his Hydras sniped. Not this time. Those Hydras pulled back at the perfect moment. I would argue that the Hydra count is a little high right now. I think that was about 20 Hydras. And you'll notice how in the fights, most of them just get stuck behind each other. I think about 10, 12 Hydras is all you really need. That's a big ball of Hydras, but we'll see how he uses it. Hydraling Bane coming forwards. There's only a few Hellbats and Hellions here popping out. Transformation servers allowing them to swap very quickly. The Hellbats trying to hang on against those Lings, but the Banelings clearing them out. That base getting evacuated and breaking through the tank line. The Ghosts were up in the main defending the Nidus Worm. These Nidus Worms, you might think it's not doing anything. Why do you keep using these stupid Niduses? It's not working. But look at all those Ghosts. If they were there on the front line, that's a very different fight. Instead, the Ghost got sent to defend the Nidus. Now, Solar is up 60 supply because he keeps clearing that base and the workers. If the Ghosts are there clearing the front line as Zerglings, it's way different. The Hellbats and the tanks perform much better, but you need those Ghosts on the front line to help deal with these units. This time, the Ghosts are a bit closer by. Hydra's coming in one more time. Ghosts dropping a few EMPs. Only one blinding cloud does get out. The tanks are going to get some good shots there. Oh, Solar, good choice to turn around. He just took some deadly tank shots. Nuke on the counteroffensive, but Solar finds it. Solar says, mate, I trained for 6 months in the red dot spotting custom map trainer. After that time, Maru nuked me. It'll never happen again. Oliveira's like, well, still got a ghost sniping drones being as annoying as I can. Why the heck not? Very, very well done by him. But Oliveira is down 60 supply, and even though he's still got more command centers to float out and he can remax gradually, I kind of wish he had a few Widow Mines peppered in, just spread across his bases. Part of what made him so unbreakable against Reynor in that Gressven match at Katowice is he always had a few Widow Mines spread across his bases as well. And I really think that just adds a lot of depth to your defense. They're not super reliable, but if you keep doing that, every time the Zerg breaks the front line, they almost always clump up, stumble into a Widow Mine, and it really turns a fight in your favor and makes things much harder for the Zerg to micro. Au contraire, Pig Solar had his army nuked again recently. I'm joking, guys. It was actually Oliveira who nuked him Lost. Oliveira nuked him with a massive nuke in a weekly cup. We cast that game here on my channel. He got nuked by Beyond a few months after the Maru nuke as well. He's been nuked a few times. The Planetary's going to go down on the left. Oh, Solar! Such a good move. Oh, Oliveira just cannot keep a base up. Cannot keep a base up. That Planetary will go down. The tank there hanging on. The Ghost trying to fight as best they can. Sniping a few units would be nice, but he can't quite get it. Nice Hellbat, you know, counter attack, but like, what is this? It's like a trickle of units going down the right side. Solar's just going to pull over there and clean those up. I do love that Solar took those hatcheries, and if he transfers drones to the forward hatcheries, I've always talked about it, this move is not used nearly enough, then he can actually mine it out. And oh, guys, Solar actually cleared the gold base on the left side, the top left. For those who don't know, if you kill the destructible rocks, it crashes down rocks to kill the watchtower, and you can then clear those rocks to take the expansion. That's really cool that Solar set that up. Lurker run by in the left side. Solar is just methodically picking Oliveira apart, and I keep saying this map sucks for Terran. Oliveira got in an advantageous situation this game, but when he rotated his army down that right side of the map, a bit of inattention, getting caught out, that big misclick with his bio, which we will rewind at the end of the game to very quickly check. Oh, big attack on the right side there, Hellbats. They were doing good versus the Lings, but they're a bit too clumped versus the Banelings. The Ghost trying to hold the line. The Snipes do rain down death and fire on the Zerg, but Solar does not care. He can remax that a dozen times over. He's got 3 Infestors coming in as well. I love that even though Solar's winning with this, he's adding the next layers of tech and preparing for the next step. This is awesome. If Solar can finish this game, we've got that Reynor versus Maru Pesta 1 coming up. Obviously, the haters out there are like, why assume it's Reynor versus Maru, pig? It could be Neeb. It could be Neeb versus Rex. Actually, Rex did leave. Oh, sorry, Rex is on side as well. My bad. Spirit. It could be, yeah, it could be Spirit versus Neeb. Actually, Spirit versus Neeb is a fun match. Anyways, big push coming forwards for Oliveira. He's got 98 army supply, which is pretty good. If he wins a fight here somehow and maintains a 50 army supply lead, I can see him winning this game. It's a very nice spread of units. He's got an Infestor there. I don't know if he has Neural. Oh, the Ling run by is huge. I love this. Solar's so patient. The Ling run by goes into the base, goes after those Zerglings. He's splitting them up all over the place. Oh, this is such a cheap move. It costs him nothing. These Zerglings are worthless to Solar, and yet it does so much to disrupt his opponent. Planetary and Hellion do take a few of them out on the way out of there, but Oliveira not having any scans available. Leaves a few Ghosts there to deal with those if they do unburrow. That Infestor just sitting there watching. Here we go! Giant engage happening for Solar. He does kind of attack around a corner on the top right, but it doesn't matter because those are brilliant Blinding Clouds. He blankets Blinding Cloud over about 2/3 of the siege tanks. And even though the Ghosts and Aliens come in behind to win the fight, quote-unquote, for Oliveira, it's a Pyrrhic victory. It is a victory where you may have won the battle technically, but you're going to lose the war because there's a lot more Lings and Hydras building. Solar's kind of low on lava right now, having lost a few hatcheries. But remember, he's mining that gold base on the left side of the map. He's still got 4,000 minerals a minute coming in. He's actually mining next to no gas, but it doesn't matter. He's just got too much stuff. And Oliveira is shaking his head, looking a bit frustrated. Solar tilted off the face of the earth because he knows he messed up so much early on in that game. You might wonder, why isn't he happier? He's angry because he knew that he messed up so bad and almost lost it for his team. And that's the pro gamer thing. He'll be happy with himself a few minutes from now, but pro gamers are always so rough on themselves. So Solar there just kind of going, at least I won. All right. We got ourselves the big match. That's right. It's a best of one. No lives left on that top bar in the middle. And we've got Reynor coming out for Kaizi Gaming in the bottom right side. Remember, they could not revive players that were previously revived. Oliveira and Solar both wiped each other off the board. Maru in the top left side, representing Onsyde Gaming. And I feel like a broken record when I cast these two, but I haven't cast them in a big tournament in a little while. But let's reiterate. Maru cannot lose late game to Reynor. Past 15 minutes, Reynor stands no chance. Like, he almost looks helpless versus him and like he doesn't know what to do. But in the early and mid game, Reynor looks like he's on another level and is super powerful. Now, Reynor's opening up pool first. Very safe here. Up against the 2-Barracks Reaper opening. I don't know. Okay, normally I don't like the 2-Barracks Reaper opening against Reynor. So the problem Maru always has versus Reynor is strategically he does very aggressive openings and weird ones. And 1 in 6 or 7 games, he gets a win. And people go, wow, what a cool opening. And the other 5 or 6 games, he just falls way behind doing a silly aggressive opening, and he can't get to late game because he's too far behind in the mid game. And this is a very quite committed opening. It is quite committed, the 2 barracks. However, I think it actually performs pretty well versus pool first. I'd be a little more worried if it was actually a hatch first, because I think Reynor could get further ahead defending off that. I could be wrong. I could be completely off the mark on this. So I say this with the, I'm not 100% confident on that, but we'll find out. Also, Maru on the top map spawn, his add-ons are going to be on the outside of the wall, which is a weakness. Keep in mind, Maru doesn't have any scouting, and the wall off is not up. So the Lings could dodge the Reaper and try to run into the base, but there'll probably be extra Reapers popping out. And he might even be able to seal the door with an add-on on that right side. Maru does start a command center behind it. 2 minutes 10. Reaper, first one, heading across the map. The Overlord obviously knows exactly what's happening. Does Reynor just try to run in? Apparently he does. But Maru with a quick response, and the add-on goes down. Add-on can get focused. 3 Lings can hit that, which means it dies almost instantly. And that means he can go after the SCV on the command center. And Reynor says, you know what? I'll delay the add-on. Delay the command center, maybe pick off an SCV if Maru messes up his micro. Maru messing up his micro a little bit right now. He is too busy saving his Reaper down there versus those Lings, and he does lose an SCV in the main. If he loses a second one, that'll be a big mistake here. I think this is absolutely worth it for Reynor, because this means he gets to just spread creep, build drones at home, and he does get a second SCV. That is not super well microed by Maru. Reynor, I think, comes out on top of this because the Reaper opening has done nothing to slow down the creep spread or the build-up, and these add-ons are also quite slowed down as well. Now, interestingly, Maru's doing the factory second gas follow-up rather than the 3rd command center. That's interesting. And now he's building the add-ons as well, which got quite delayed, but are going to go down. Normally, he pauses on marine production with most follow-ups to this build. Reynor very supply blocked on 36, building 3 Overlords, though. Reynor pooping the bed a bit. Maru may have been behind, but a 36 supply block into losing drones to Reapers. Oh, my lord. Reynor does go for the wraparound, though. I like that. Citizen's Arrest blocking that. Does get one of the Reapers and goes back to mining. But, man, that 36 supply block really slowed down his droning. And I think that gives Maru a chance to even this game out. It should go back to pretty close to even now. Okay, we've got the barracks coming up. 3rd barracks and a starport instead of a 3rd command center. Maru is committing hard to 2-base aggression for a man that is so favored versus Reynor in the late game. He really does like to force early game battles. It's one of his strengths against other players is that dynamic nature of Maru, where he's very good in the early game and very good in the late game. But against Reynor, I have to criticize this. I have to say, 3rd command center and playing to the late game and playing a little bit more conservative, I do feel is the better way to play. And I understand just sitting back all game feels bad versus Zerg because they will just be so greedy and it's like not the best way to flow to late game. But I think when you have such a skill and strategy advantage as Maru does versus Reynor, it's worth it. I think it really is worth playing a very slow game plan. For him now, though, with this plan, his 3rd command center is going to be very delayed. He's building medevacs now. They both do start, so we'll be doing a double drop in the near future. Overlord, though, sees no 3rd command center. I think Reynor is pretty confident that this is a 2-base build. He goes for the lair and the Baneling Nest. Baneling speed is pretty far away. I think Reynor might play single Evo chamber, and he's probably going to go 4 gas. I also would love to see Reynor expand to the bottom left side of the map. Not many players do that, but the central base on the low ground, that is really exposed to tank pushes. The middle of this map is a nightmare against siege tanks, and even though the base in the bottom left can get pushed, it's much harder for the Terran to commit an army down there, knowing the Zerg can just give that base up and move the drones elsewhere. Big Marine push coming forwards. That's more than 16 Marines, I think. Oh, is it? No, it looks like it's exactly 16 Marines moving towards Reynor's main base. Overlord does spot it. And looks like he should be in position to stop the unload. If he moves up, and Maru should not be unloading there. Good choice to cancel the drop. Does let 1 Marine die. Slight mistake. Single Evo chamber goes down for Reynor. He stopped at 55 workers and he's massing Lings, going for Bane speed. This is the correct play. If the Terran does not want a 3rd command center, they just want to fight you on 2-base, then you want to play like this. And Maru should know he's being scouted. And that's going to cause him some issues. Now, obviously, I think as long as you can deny the 4th base or kill a 4th base as Maru, you can drop your own delayed 3rd and still be okay. But it's 6 minutes 16. He still hasn't done that. He's going to need to make that decision to drop that 3rd base sooner rather than later. Otherwise, Reynor can just sit here massing Ling Bane on 3 base all day. Reynor just went to 64 workers, which is way more workers than you need to saturate 3 mineral lines and 4 gases. But 4th base goes up on the low ground. That's the 4th that I was saying is the inferior 4th base. I think it's almost certain he has to cancel that because you know Maru's looking for this tank position just in the center. That's the best tank position on any map in the pool is just to the right there. Maru moving right past it though. Maru wants to get even deeper towards the 3rd base. It's only got 1 tank so far. He's going to try and shove up here. Bane speed ain't done just yet. Reynor's got those queens up there buying time, but you want to wait for that stim to wear off. I love that the Lings are ready for the backstab as well. Reynor's got a really good setup here. Maru in a dangerous position. He's going for 5 barracks. Maru's going full 2-base commitment. Maru does not want to play late game. Absolute madness. Maru, the guy who looks unbeatable with mech and never plays mech. Maru, the guy who looks unbeatable in late game and never plays late game. His decision making always something that's a bit of an enigma to me, but that is something where he's going to pull out. Look at that. He's unsieged the tank. No, he re-sieged the tank. Maru getting a little bit tangled up in what he wants to do there. Does save some of the Marines. I would have loved to see him save that tank. I thought he was going to pick up, pull back, and join with these units. But remember, the key here is to put those tanks on the right side and then attack the other base. I think he's attacking an angle which is actually inferior. This base on the right is way more exposed. He's trying to kill Reynor's 3rd, but Reynor splits the Ling Bane on the right side, goes around there. Maru's still got a very scary push on the front. The Queens are out of energy. They're out of energy. Reynor usually stops these pushes with Queen energy, but he's out of transfuses right now. He's got to break this push right now because those Queens are out of juice. The Marines doing what they can. 1 tank goes down. The Baneling's getting on top. Oh, nice hot pickup by Maru. Saves most of the Marines, but his tanks are being cleared. And remember, he does not have a 3rd base behind this. Reynor staying on 62 workers and just massing Ling Bane. Every time he slows this push down, he buys massive room for himself in this game. +1 carapace versus +1 attack for the Terran. Terran never got the armor. Maru not building a 3rd. Maru is 100% committed to this play. He's going to try and siege that tank on the low ground, but he's trying to put it behind the gas. It cannot pard there. You need to drop it behind the gas. Maru miss-microing a little bit. He's got to get out of here. He's got to get out of here. Nice stutter step. Nice stutter step. That was a good trade for Maru. He loses time, but he doesn't lose any valuable units, and that's the most important thing. As long as he doesn't throw his units away, look at the army supply. That's the number on the far right. 74 versus 75, just next to the APM. And that is very close. And the problem is, even when you're up a base of workers, yeah, Ling Bane's kind of supply efficient. It's very cost inefficient, though, the Banelings are at least. And these armies, as long as the Terran maintains even or ahead army supply, there's always a chance of them breaking through. If he can deny this 4th base, he can win this game. But oh, Reynor with an ambush! Banelings off creep on the right side. The Marines do pull back. 1 siege tank will go down. Another siege tank looks like it'll fall, but so much Ling Bane going down in return. A good fight for Maru. Reynor's Queen's caught off creep, and oh my god! Oh no, Reynor! This is the area of the map where he had nightmares against Oliveira from Katowice. There's a reason why I talked about this base being kind of scary. I hope he takes the 5th in the bottom left so that he can just give up on this if he needs to. Those Marines are heavily overstimmed though. They are very weak. Even the Queens might be able to deal with those. Lings try to cut off the reinforcement there. Ling Bane getting ready for a flank on the right side. There's only 1 tank. 3 libs caught mid-siege. The Queens are going to ambush it. The libs are going down. These Marines are so wounded right now. Maru pulling to the right side. Oh, a lot of the Marines died to the Banelings before the pickup was there. And you can see the Kaizi Gaming players, managers, and some of the casters reacting over there on the right side. I love that they've got that camera shot. I did not expect that to come in here. Ling Bane coming on in. Reynor does hold that push, holds onto his 4th. If he can squeeze a hatchery in the bottom left, it gives him such flexibility. His creep is pushed back into a tight little corner, and Maru only now starts a 3rd command center. Maru committed so hard to the 2 base all in. I really feel like this sort of play is most beautifully executed by Beyond when he keeps you guessing. You feel like you're being 2 base all in, but then sometimes there's a surprisingly fast 3rd command center going down at 6 minutes. Other times you feel like he's transitioning. The all in does hit really hard. Maru, though, is a little bit transparent with how he did this one. And Reynor, now 76 workers. Okay, that's too many. Surely 76 drones is too many. But I mean, he won that fight. If he can hold on, it's not too many. I always feel like Reynor builds too many workers. My knee-jerk reaction is always, that's way too greedy. Oh, the medevac with 3 Marines in it goes down. I think maybe 2 Marines in a medevac do fall. Nice drop into the main base. But if Reynor can survive off of that quote-unquote greedy worker advantage, then he just flies ahead. And this is the danger of Reynor. He's an explosive player. Yeah, he gets a bit greedy sometimes, but guess what? You give him a room to breathe, you let him shut down and all in like this, and then you do this very awkward transition into 3-base play, and look at that economy soaring. Look at that supply starting to climb. Reynor, with the pool first opening, really took the momentum out of Maru's sails in this game, and it feels like since then, Maru's been trying to force the aggression. I've seen him do a lot of very 2-base focused plays on this map. He did it versus Lambo at Katowice as well. Maru, like, really very much likes the Marine tank positioning on this map, but Reynor's done such a good job of staying elusive and not fighting in the bad positions, waiting for him to step a bit too far forward and then catching him out. Another 3 Marines on the rally. Reynor will take those up. He can also blow the wall up, and that's going to force Maru all in. Maru's going to shove on the front. The Link Bane's going to jump on it. The Marines pulling back, but that means the tanks are going to fall. The Queens take out 1 Liberator, 2 Liberators, 3 Liberators fall. Oh my god, the Liberators are getting hammered by the Queens while he's getting destroyed behind it. 1 more Liberator. Is it going to go down? No, all the Queens went down. Uh-oh. Reynor may have gone a bit too far forwards with that army, trying to get so much done, but he's damaging the natural at home. All the SCVs are going down. There's only 1 tank left, and it dies. The tank, no, it gets saved at the last second. 1 siege tank in the red, but there's still 3 Liberators alive. 2 of them in the orange, 1 in the red. He's going to go for it. If the Lings can force the pickup, the Queens can kill the Liberators. If he gets rid of the Liberators with the Queens, the Ling Bane will reign supreme. And Reynor does it. Only 1 Liberator left. Maru down to 35 workers versus 71. Somehow Reynor still has his 4th base up, 5th base building in the bottom left side. It's +2 carapace, +1 melee. Reynor also ahead on the upgrades. His Ling Bane better than it's ever been in this game. Somehow his creep is respread down this right side, despite it feeling like Maru be pushing here the entire game long. Another Liberator goes down. These Queens transfusing like mad, and they're going to take out yet another Liberator. The Queens are falling, but moving outside of those lib zones. Marines trying to drop here to deal with these Queens. Nice micro by Reynor. Look at that stutter step. The Queen is just being a real thorn in the hand of course, Maru. The Queen finally looks like it will go down to the Liberator. As I say that, no, Raider's Queen micro is slick. He's building 5 more Queens right now. Even though the Libs are killing a bunch of Ling Bane, it's a desperate position, and the Queen goes down. That Liberator barely surviving. He's going to try and drop in the main right now. Maru is desperate. If he goes down, then Kaizi Gaming will defeat Onsyde Gaming in this match. Another Queen falls to the Marines, and he's up in the main base, tearing up the drone line. But remember, the +2 carapace upgrade advantage is there, and there's so many Zerglings, Banelings coming in from behind. Maru has to pick up and get on out. Queen is going to take out that Liberator as well, and that is such an expensive unit to be losing. The Spore Crawler getting damage done. These medevacs are so low. 2 of them deep in the red, 3 of them in the orange, and 1 very healthy. More Marines, tanks, and Liberators are building at home. Maru has a 3rd base mining, but with only 35 workers, and Reynor solid on 5 base. That is a ridiculous income disparity. You can see double the mineral income at the bottom of your screen. Doesn't matter if Reynor's not mining that much more gas. It's all about the minerals when you're playing mass Ling with a handful of Banes mixed in. Good defense there. That was a nice position. Those tanks in the natural getting some really good shots off. Reynor's got to be careful with those engagements. Can't get 2 Cavalier. 12 drones do start up, and an infestation pit. Reynor wants to go to the Ultras right now, and he says no risks. There's no reason to take risks here. If he's turtling with his tanks behind his natural wall in, I don't need to force the issue. Oh, Lings get in! Lings get in the natural. Those tanks are going to go down. That could be a big snipe. Ling Bane rolls in the 3rd at the same time. I said doesn't need to take risks, but Reynor says screw that. I can kill these siege tanks easy peasy. Spores and Queens defending the Lib harass. Another tank goes down on the high ground, but Maru with a counter drop could do some damage there. SCVs! Oh no! SCVs, the drilly boys getting absolutely blasted there. Banelings to the face. Maru taps out, and Reynor looking hyped as all hell. Kaizi Gaming super excited there. Reynor very happy. Of course, Maru a little upset, but I do think he looked a little off in his series versus Spirit before as well. I think that was just one of those situations where Maru maybe not quite back in form and warmed up after his championship loss. And Reynor, on the other hand, even though he said he was feeling sick through some of these games and this kind of playoff stage, managed to bring it together with some excellent backstabs and wins this series. Oliveira doing so much heavy lifting. Reynor coming in with the final win as well. Great play for Kaizi Gaming, and what an awesome match.